You know what time it is. Time it is. Time it is. Time it is. Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book 91. We are here for Ready to Love. Listen, it's got a bit manic. Has some technicals, okay? Some things didn't go the way I wanted it to go, all right? But we here now, okay? Listen, we're about to give you guys a lovely show, all right? I'm not at my usual setup. I'm not my usual home. I'm a little bit away from where I usually am. But we're still going to have a great show. We're still going to be having an amazing conversation with many different people, all right? Now, I've got my panelists ready to go at a touch of a button. But I want to kind of break down a few things that were happening. Someone said, look, like we're kidnapped. It gets like that. It gets like that. You get me? Someone said, where's my hoodie? Oh, hold on. My hoodie. I got my hoodie. Hold on. There we go. Hoodie. Listen, it's a Mazzolini right now, because, all right. Listen, I'm a bit disheveled. You get me? All right, good hoodie. Okay, so I'm coming up close to the screen out here because it's been one of those days, bro. It's been one of them days. All right, cool. Let's get the show going. So, talking about obviously Ready to Love, it's been a mad. And there was a couple things in there that I think were quite interesting. Number one was obviously we had Carrington, who obviously ended up leaving the show. Eventually, if that's a spoiler for you, I'm so sorry. Carrington ended up leaving the show. We had also his conversation with Aisha, which for me personally, when I heard the conversation with Aisha, I said, I don't like where this is going. I don't like what I'm hearing. I don't like what is really going on here. And I didn't like his conversation because I felt like he was kind of being avoidant about a simple issue around cheating. Have you changed your life? Have you not changed your life? Like, sir, it's not a very difficult situation. And I felt like he was kind of dodging and not really being true to what he said. Just as this, guys. I didn't think he was honestly being all the way truthful about the way he was going about the situation. So, and I know I've heard stories about his baby mothers and stuff like that, but I never brought that into my decision making. Just listening to him talk, I said, it wasn't for me. And then we had obviously as well, we had also as well, what's we call it? We had, what's his name? Corey. Listen, Corey's energy is infectious. Listen, don't get to it. Corey's energy is infectious. It's large. It's out there. We appreciate the energy. But what I think about Corey's situation is that I just don't think he really is someone who is ready for a relationship. Nothing he says sounds like he's ready for a relationship. The conversation he had with Sabrina, the conversation he had with Moomin, both were the same. Both were really about himself. There wasn't really much of depth. I think he lacks depth. I think he doesn't want to go deep. I think if he ever goes deep, if he's never gone deep, it's because, if he's never had that conversation of going deep or wants to avoid it, it's because probably he can't go that deep. Let's keep it 100 a buck, right? And so for me, in that particular instance, I'm not impressed. Yeah, I'm not impressed. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, for me, I feel like, that I feel like obviously, he has a lot of work to do, and I don't think the show is the place to do it. Can I be honest? I don't think the show is the place to do it. We also had the awesome foursome. We had Corey. We had Camille. We had who's the other person? Walter, and we had Cornelius, all in the conversation. Listen, for me, it was mad. That conversation was mad. I'm just going to be honest with you. I think that whole conversation was mad. And the reason why I think that whole conversation was mad is because they started talking about God and talking about Christ, and Camille was setting up Courtney, and then Courtney wasn't really on the same wave as Cornelius. I don't think they're really going to work out in the end, but hey-ho, that's another conversation. So that was also interesting. And then we had Zadia, we had Shiloh, we had Naeem, and we had Dante all on a date as well, right? And I was a little bit confused as well. I was like, where's this conversation going? We've gone from sensuality to sex, and I was like, ugh. Naive also missed the whole point. She said about sensuality, and somehow he got onto sex. She was like, no, sensuality. He missed that comprehension. And then we had also the situation. Then we had a situation also as well with what do you call it? We had a situation with the Tasia as well. Hey, listen, I didn't even do a Tasia video, you know. I didn't even do a Tasia video. Tasia, at the very beginning, when both times where she was at the group and at the very beginning, I wasn't really feeling her energy too tough, right? At the very beginning, Tasia was coming and talking to the boys, okay? At the very beginning, Tasia was coming to the boys, and what she said was, so why am I in the bottom? I said, so why are you in the bottom? It's not a question you want to really be asking. If you ask that kind of question, you already put those people who are going to answer the question on a back foot. You don't want to do that. You know, a better question would have been, you know, what can I improve on so I'm not in the bottom again, right? A better question would have been, what can I improve on so I'm not in the bottom again? Because the whole point of this is, if you end up in the bottom and you start saying, hey, you know, what, basically what she said, which is, you know, why am I at the bottom? Basically, who did vote for me? I'm like, darling, you've got, and that's why I said, do you remember I said to you guys about, I'm not buying this whole feminism, family energy. Do you know what I'm saying? Because for me, I'm struggling to see that feminine energy at the moment. I'm starting to see a little bit of that annoyance. I'm starting to see that frustration. I'm starting to see somebody who quickly gets frustrated when things don't go their way. And that's what I said about, when you start mentioning I'm masculine or I'm feminine, you probably aren't those things. That's why you're mentioning it. Nobody has to mention those things when you are those things. You know what I'm saying? And I felt like she didn't. I felt like she is now getting frustrated, and it's playing into how she talks now with the guys. You know, I'm not fooled by that sweet, innocent tone when the actual content, what comes out your mouth, is not on point. Do you feel what I'm saying? So, yeah, I was a little bit disappointed by that. Do you know what I'm saying? A little bit disappointed by it. I wasn't really feeling it too tough. Do you know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So a little quick breakdown. And then who else was there? Who else was there? Well, okay, so we're going to get the panelists on in a second anyway. We're going to get the panelists on in a second. But Carrington's conversation, yeah, was a Mazzoline, right? At the end. Did you guys catch the conversation at the end that Carrington had with Camille? Nah, the brother was moving weighty, brother. The guy was talking about, oh, you know, he was talking about, that obviously, basically, he was trying to rush the conversation as to why we're having this conversation here. And bro, you know why we're having this conversation. You know that whilst you're on a date, that you're on this type of date, you are probably going to be one of the two that may be evicted. And he tried to put pressure on Camille at the end, you know, saying about getting to know me, And I was like, it's part of that energy that I'm not really Nah, wow. Let me change my name. Hold on. Let me change my name. Hold on. Yes, get me. So yeah, I wasn't really feeling it like that, you know. Yeah, Sheila, exactly. Alexis is similar. Courtney is similar to Alexis. I'm not gonna lie to you. Yeah, he is. But that was my quick rundown. Listen, my voice is not important. You've seen all my reviews I'm doing, okay? All right? There are other people who are going to have a say-so today, and I'm going to bring them on to have that conversation. Jay, you're the first one here, so let's get that conversation flowing. Jay, how you doing? Loving it. You cool? Yeah, you good?
What's good, y'all? How y'all doing? This episode brings out the player in me, you know what I'm saying? I got to bring it back. I just feel like I try to leave those days behind, but you know, everything that was going on, the topics, the discussions, the madness moving around, I was like, I need to come back out and show them how to do it right, you know, like, yeah.
Right now you're giving us the right Nick Cannon energy right now. This is what I'm feeling, Nick Cannon energy right now. You understand? That's what you're giving me right now.
Nick obviously out here doing his thing, playing. You know what I'm saying? He making these babies the same year. Nobody cares.
Oh my days. Oh my days. Who else we got in here? For the 99s and 2000s. Who's this? Who this?
I'm laughing at. Who is
Hello,
this?
99s and 2000s.
Drop it like it's hot.
Who are you? And what do you want here? Boy, if you don't show your face right now, you're gonna get evicted. What's going on? Oh no, is that you?
That's me.
No, you're moving, man.
Start on.
You're moving, man.
You rapping with me. I feel you.
That's me. Hold on.
You lot are moving mad today. You lot want to smoke today. Yeah. I see it. Dr. Lundy speaking to the masses. Sean on foot, what are you saying, brother? Oh, you changed your name, Sean. I can tell already, innit? You changed your name.
No. I didn't change my name. I'm not even trying to keep up with Jay or anybody else.
Let me go to my
I'm just consistent with the theme. I was told hoodie and glasses. Jay went on script.
I didn't know.
Oh, yeah, no. Oh, sorry.
Go grab a hoodie.
I can go grab the hoodie.
Go grab your hoodie, honey. You come back and grab your hoodie, man. Go get your hoodie. You can go back and go if you want. Or if it's too hot where you are, don't worry, bro. Relax. Understand? Yeah. Okay. All right. We've got some teams today. Yeah, we've got some things going on today. It's going to be an interesting conversation because there's a lot of things to unpack. Actually, I got my notes ready. There was a lot of things that were happening on the show, but let me get you guys just first instances of like what you thought about this episode. Just your first instance of what you thought about this episode. Reformed player from the Himalayas. What was your initial thoughts on the episode?
Like I said, I said I got to come out of retirement. I got to get up there with nephew Tommy and go ahead and start teaching some classes because this is ready for lust. This ain't ready for love. You know, this is hot and ready, like Little Caesars. This is hot and bothered. This is everything, but I'm looking for love. I don't know where the conversations was going. I don't know what Corey was doing. There was some good moments in it, you know, with Tyrone opening up and sharing his experience and stuff. But overall, I was like, I'm about to get back on the court and start playing these games again. Like, I see it. Like, the world needs me back. I need to get my cape back.
Kamile'S, you are banned from doing anything like that. But I hear what you're saying. It's ready to last right now. I'm hearing what you're saying. Okay. From the 99s to the 2000s.
Man.
You know what I mean? What's your thoughts?
I mean, I'm conflicted with this week's episode. I think we're getting like two different. I mean, it's still early in the season. We're getting two different views of so many characters right now. It's a lot to sort out. I said last time, I think the problem with this show is they kind of script like the narrative for the contestants before the show starts, and then we start seeing the representatives, and things aren't adding up. Characters that we shouldn't be hating become fan favorites, and people that we thought, okay, we're going to vibe with. Like, next thing you know, they're coming left at us. Like, we don't know what's going on. Like, I really thought Courtney was she was a beautiful, attractive person. Like, you know what, this will be someone I really want to talk to. But when you actually just dig down to a surface level and things that she's trying to say, it's just like, you know, she's just talking about sex every time. Every time she has a chance on camera. And to me, it's like, I'm not sure how much the camera's on her, but the fact the camera's catching all this, what's happening when the cameras aren't on? And I think we're starting to see that, especially in the confessional, the women's confessionals at the end of this episode. It's like, okay, what's going on that we're not seeing is what we want. Again, I want to see that part, because again, that's kind of giving us a better idea exactly how these people are moving. And second part, I am from DC, and people move mad as hell in these streets. I'm just seeing like, okay, like these guys right here, they ain't hiding it. Not like last season before. They're just. We'll see. Let's get into this.
I'm hearing what you're saying. From the 90s to the 2000s. We appreciate you. Okay, saved and sexy. What are you talking about, sir? Saved and sexy. What's your initial thoughts on the episode, sir? Give it to me.
I had to change my head, Coach. I had to.
I hear you, bro.
Left out. So listen, definitely this episode was on a next level. You know what I mean? And speaking of saved and sexy, I think Cornelius and Courtney with Camille and Walter in those conversations. Wow. You know what I mean? And Walter felt it, and he was like, once Camille started, checking Courtney for touching his leg and saying, you can't touch him. He was like, I don't even need to be here. I got a good meeting to get to, so I'm gonna leave y'all to it because it was just way too much. So I think we just saw a lot of too much going on this episode. I gotta say that I like Aisha. I like the way she carries herself, has conversations. She, was holding Carrington's feet to the fire. So I think we got to see some people that are good conversationalists. Sabrina too. So that was a highlight for me.
I'm hearing you. And I know we're going to get to that conversation because that's a hot one still. It was a very touchy particular conversation. Do you get what I'm saying? And I'm sure there's a lot to discuss in that area as well. All right. Speaking to the masses, what are you telling me?
Yo. What they got going on with this show? Help me to understand what's going on with this show. Like Jay said, ready to love from ready to lust. Okay, like they doing too much for me. Can we just go on some simple dates, eat some good food? We gotta talk about the sex though on round 2. And Corey, homie need to just go sit down. Like, he out here capping. He ain't doing what he's supposed to be doing. Like, the only good thing he probably did do was fix old girl tires. That's about the best that was gonna get. But this show is a train wreck. Like, it legit reminds me of one of those low budget movies that come on BET and you don't have nothing else to watch, but this the only thing we got. So we gonna watch it anyway. That's what this episode in this show really looking like. Soul plane. Like, just cut the show. Cut the show. This ain't working. This is not what we looking for. This is not what we was asking. This is not season 1 when we first started out. This is a whole mess and a half. Like, people trying to act, the acting ain't working out. Like, who wrote the script? Can we start over? Please, can we start over? Because they tripping. They got me going all the way back to the 90s and the early 2000s for real. Cause what? All right, Kojo. Go somebody else, cause I gotta get my thoughts together. Cause I'm tripping.
No worries. I'm hearing you. Hood Bouger. What are you telling me, man? Hood Bouger, it's good to see you, man. Looking lovely. Looking spicy today.
Thank you. So I always, say that this show is a learning experience. Although it's bad acting, it sparks the conversations that we need to have. Because unfortunately, it's like a train wreck, but we got people moving mad in these streets for real in real life like this. So, I understand that, it's bad acting, but believe it or not, again, I know people that just have drama all day long and just, I know the Corys. And poor Corey, I just got to pick on Corey. I don't even know how he's 41 and still just don't have a clue. Like, dude, that copy and paste and you think that's cute. And I'm like, okay, like, what's going on with Brother Corey? I don't know. But I'm gonna let that.
I'm hearing you, Brother Corey. Brother Corey is a bit of a madness. I ain't gonna lie to you. We're gonna talk about him. Don't worry. Brother Corey is a little bit of a madness still. Don't worry. Not Corey on the panel, but Corey on the show. But Corey, namesake, since you've been mentioned and summoned, tell us, what's your initial thoughts on the episode, man?
It's hard for me to hear my name in such a negative way. I am so close to going down to the county office and have my name changed. It's to a point now where he is making all Corys look bad. Ladies, understand this. There's always a rotten apple, okay, in the bunch. You see what the rotten apple looks like. We do not all function like this. Please understand. I'm pleading with you. Ladies, I am pleading with you. This man does not speak for all Corys. I'm going back and forth about the name change, but hopefully tonight I can defend Corys all around the world and not let one person take us back. I think Corey shouldn't be there. Honestly, I don't. I think that he's really giving a bad name to most men who are out here trying to date for real. He looks at women as if they're a game, as if they're a piece of meat. So to me, I don't think there's need for him. I think we just get rid of him. Now, I've been predicting who goes, and I've been pretty good so far. Carrington, I say he'll be gone by the 3rd episode. I predicted 2 of the finalists from last season of Rated to Love, 2 of the couples. I think I'm pretty good at this. Corey's got to go. He's going to be gone. I think he's going to be gone within the next episode when the men have to decide, what the women have to decide to let the men go. He's going to be gone. He's going to be gone. Too much. He's not getting it. That's the thing. Like every woman is telling him the same thing. Hey, you're doing this the wrong way. But he thinks everyone is wrong and he's right. That's a bad way of thinking. So to me, all I got to say is I think that Corey should go.
I'm liking it. Okay, no, that's real. Corey's obviously mashing up the things tonight. So there's a lot to discuss tonight. There's a lot of different issues that were actually happening on this episode. So I'll make sure I put the banner on there so you guys can see what we're discussing for today. But before we go any further, guys, do me a favor. If you're new to this channel, please like it, share, and subscribe. Why? Because you're going to get some great content coming your way on a daily basis. Let's start off with Tasia, okay? Because she was the first person we saw that came into the bar and spoke to the boys, right? And, Tasia had an opportunity to address the boys, okay, have a conversation and get to know why she was in the bottom. And I guess the question I'm kind of asking you guys is, do you feel that was the most appropriate way of addressing the fact that she was in the bottom, the way she approached it? And if you don't believe it was the best way to approach it, what would have been a better way for her to approach that scenario? All right, that's my first kind of question. And I'm going to go reverse now. I'm going to go back. So, Corey, I'm going to let you go first. What was your thoughts on Tasia's kind of conversation with the boys there?
I didn't think it was cool, and I think that's why she will be on a chopping block coming up soon, because that's very uncomfortable to bring it up to a group of guys. Why did you pick me to be last? I think that, and I'm going to catch some heat for saying this, but there are levels to this. Okay, so if you pose yourself as being on a certain level, as being invincible or untouchable, and you get a wake-up call, that's what happens. So I think that's what happened with her. She came onto the show very confident, nothing wrong with being confident, but to the confidence to the point where she felt like she wouldn't be touched. She wouldn't go down. So I think it was bad for her to do that, and it shows when she brought it up to the fellas. I think she could have asked questions like, what could have I done better? What was missing? What is something I could do so I can learn from the situation? These are things you want to ask someone to let them know that, okay, what happened, you paid attention to it. Yeah, you were at the bottom too. So it's not something that you just completely forgot about, but it's something that you paid attention to it. Now, how can I be better? How can I stay in this game? What do I need to do to let you guys know that I'm serious about being here? So I think that's what she should have went with it.
Good solid points there. I appreciate that, man. Good solid points about Tasia. Okay, cool. Does anybody have a different viewpoint to Tasia's conversations? Anyone have a different viewpoint? You can raise your fingers up or hand up or whatever so I can see you. If you have a different point. If not, that's fine. We'll continue the order. But I just want to see if anyone else had a different point. Go for it. Hood Bouger, talk to us.
So I hear everything you're saying, Corey, but I'm just looking at it from a different point of view. So sometimes, in like in the corporate America world, as a Black woman, it's called aggressive, but someone else, it may be direct. So to see again, with life struggles or whatever she's been through, sometimes people, change and are more direct. So I was just like, okay, maybe she's just a more direct person, and a person is just like that. They're not for everyone, because I'm a little old. Well, I'm way older than Cecilia, but I'm one of them people that will come to you and be like, hey, what is it? Whatever. Now, she didn't have to do it in a group setting, but I do see where her confusion came in, where, y'all exchanging numbers and then you're like, oh, well, I didn't really get to know you. So I kind of get that, because, she was just like, the vibe was that, she got, I think, 4 numbers. And again, she probably was confident before she came on, and it just was not for her. So I do kind of like, see where she's coming from, but it didn't have to be done in a group setting. She could have just been like, hey, whoever the 4 people that she got the phone numbers from, like, hey, I thought we were vibing, what happened or whatever. And I agree with you, what you said. How could I have done better? But I can see how she's direct. And again, we have to just look at people's background, because she do got a little, edge to her. So, that's all.
I would 100% agree with what you're saying. But the reason why I say what I said as far as how she feels about herself, and as far as being invincible, when she made that statement, it's one thing to be direct, but you need to be direct towards the right people. And what she didn't do is she didn't have the right people sitting in front of her, because one of the guys who was there, he said, well, you and I haven't even talked yet. We haven't even talked at all. So she's directing that question to a man who hasn't even talked to her before. So he's within reason of saying, I didn't get a chance to talk to her. So if it was just the men that she got an opportunity to talk to sitting at that table, I 100% agree with you on that. But she just threw it out there as if whoever said it, you guys were wrong. So I think she should have placed it a little bit better.
I totally agree that she could have, like I said, it wasn't the right setting, but I could see where she was coming from. Like I said, I'm trying to play the devil's advocate. Like, okay, was it right? But yeah, she was just a little direct, and she should have addressed those 4 or 5 numbers, whoever she got those numbers from. Like, hey, I thought we were vibing. And like you said, it's a game. So she came in, with her pink on, and she was ready to get it. She was like, okay, hey, y'all gonna see me. But again, you're not for everyone. You might think you're cute. You might think this, whatever, but this show, you gotta have, you gotta be secure with yourself to go on this show, because when you might think you hot out there in these streets and you go on that show will break your confidence. So listen, Cecilia, everybody's not meant to be ready to love.
And one more point, I'm gonna give it up. You make a good point about her being confident, because when Aisha walked in, her confidence went down. She saw Aisha, she made the meanest look on her face. When you're a woman of confidence, no one can walk in that door that's going to sway you one way or the other. You keep that confidence up. So to me, I think it really hurt her to the core. And having Aisha come in there as competition, she's not ready for that.
Okay, I like that little dialogue there. Thank you, Corey Black and Hood Boucher. Appreciate that. Okay, good. I like that. All right. Speaking to the masses, what was your thoughts on Tasia coming into the show? What did you glean from the conversation with the guys at the very beginning?
So just picking back off of what Corey Black said about that confidence piece, I agree to it. And if you notice, when she was talking about, she came in her hot pink outfit, but as we see, the other young lady came in with her hot pink on, and everything shifted. She got real quiet in that moment. But prior to that, I also agree with what Corey was saying in regards to who she was talking to. She really didn't address the guys with the 4 numbers that she said that she had it. She got the numbers by. She probably should have texted them or called them on, on the private time and say, hey, what was the reason why I was in the bottom? We exchanged numbers. I was led to believe, that we hit it off pretty good. What's really the issue behind it, versus just addressing it to the guys in that setting? Because I want to say Phil was the one who was like, well, hey, we haven't even spoken yet. So I'm actually glad that Phil said what he said to correct that, because you don't want to take ownership to something that you didn't even do. And sometimes, as ladies and men, but ladies, we have to do better with just accusing people or saying something, and that's not even that's not even the person that did anything to you. If it's an issue of that nature, go to that person and be like, hey, effective communicate with that person. Like, hey, I feel some type of way about this. This is what happened. How can we resolve it? But when you just go off and look almost like the aggressive Black woman in a sense, and I understand she's direct. I do appreciate some of her directness and what she says in regards to certain things. And we'll get to it later, but there was another scene where she was very direct with it as well when she had her confessional. I appreciated her directness and her honesty in that regard in another scene. But in this particular scene, that just comes with a level of grace where you speak in such a way, and you have to be able to say it in such a way that it doesn't come off offensive. You're not putting the blame on another Black man for something that another Black man did. It's just, you got to know how to govern yourself accordingly in these situations. And of course, you coming on this show, the competition going to be high. So your confidence definitely have to be in place, but it can't be arrogant and cocky and prideful. You have to have confidence in yourself, but you're still humble at the same time. So if the guys did, vote you and you was at the bottom, look at that. Of course, go to them, talk to them, find out why, but don't be in a place of accusation or offense or defense. Just figure out what the issue is, and if it's something that you can glean and learn from that, so you can apply it to yourself to be more effective on the show and just in general in life. I think a lot of times people get offended and they don't want to receive constructive criticism or a truth. And I'm not saying you received the truth and somebody told you and it was harsh and nasty about it. That's different. But I mean somebody who's really trying to look out for you and say like, hey, you firing off on these questions, the guys ain't liking it. Maybe you should take another approach as to how you should ask your questions. Something to approve and help you to be better while you trying to date out here. But if you just fly off at the handle and you offended, you defending, you throwing accusations and whatever the case may be, there could be an issue. At the same time, I do agree in regards to what Miss Simone was saying in regards to her directness, because there are some ladies that are direct. They don't sugarcoat anything. They know how to go ahead and say what needs to be said, but it's just a way that you go about it and you do it. So if you know how to go about it and be honest and be direct in an appropriate way, then it's effective. If not, then it'll blow over every time.
So. Okay. I appreciate those, Lindy. Thank you. Speaking to the masses, as always, coming correct with spiritual word. You feel me? Okay, cool. From the 99s to the 2000s, talk to me, bro. What was your thoughts around Tasia's conversation with the boys? Right and wrong. What was your kind of viewpoint into the conversation?
I'm kind of indifferent. I'm kind of down the middle. Like, I don't see it as, I'm not seeing it as a slight, but I'm not seeing it how it benefited her. I think she could have been more mature in the way she addressed the situation. Maybe she should have talked to the people that she connected with the most versus just the people that were there. But at the same time, like, she was talking what was on her mind. She should have been more. She shouldn't have said it to everyone. Maybe talk to 1 or 2 people on the side versus like other people there. Again, under everyone's opinions, because it was pretty much she was personally hurt about why she was on the bottom. She didn't need all the guys there to know exactly why she felt the particular way she did. So that was my main slight with her. The way she got to the point is by the way she's asking or talking to the gentleman. The gentlemen don't like the way they're being talked to. They feel like they're on an interview. They don't feel like she's taking time to learn them on a personal level. So if that's the case, then why are you still talking to them in a group setting, and why is everything still like interview up to that point? So yes, she should have went about it a little bit better. She could have went about it a little better. Is it a point where we're going to knock her for it? Not so. My issue isn't too much like what happened in the early episode. I'm more towards what happened towards the end with Tesha. I think she's overconfident. It's one thing to be overconfident. However, she's not humble. She's not humbled by the experience up to that point. And that's the key thing. So we can see that she's hurt. She's trying to address the hurt in a non-mature way, or not in a mature way as we've seen other contestants on the show been so far. That's the main issue. that I have attached at that point.
Cheers for that. Appreciate it, bro. Thank you. Let me ask a different question. I'm gonna get saved and sexy just quickly. Why was Tasia in the bottom? Like, you can answer this question as well, but I want to ask this first question. Why was Tasia in the bottom? If you remember, why was she in the bottom?
What I'm trying to remember from last episode what they said.
I think this is the same thing they said to Carrington. She does interview style.
That's right. That's exactly right. So I think, like, in her mind, she thought she was closing the deal, but it was just like wash and repeat. You know, it's just like on to the next, and people weren't really getting to know her. And I think maybe even some of that attitude or even a little bit of that arrogance came into play, because even during her interview, she was, being a little cocky and saying like, oh, all of her exes want her back and all of the things that she does that are appealing to a man. And sometimes there's a disconnect between what you think you're coming off as and what people are actually receiving you as. So I think that it just shows, I don't think she is self-reflective. She's that person that when the relationship goes wrong, she's like, it was the other person. That's what I'm starting to see. So that's going to land you in a little bit of trouble, because you are not able to kind of sit back and look and say, hey, maybe what could I do different? If a bunch of group of guys is saying that they couldn't, they wanted to put me in the bottom, maybe it's not so much about them as it's about me. And maybe there's something that I'm doing that needs to be adjusted. But I don't see her being open to that at all. She's like, yeah, y'all crazy. Y'all crazy. Y'all the ones with the problems. And now I'm going to go turn around and I'm going to confront you and call you out, which that gets you nowhere. It doesn't get you better outcomes being confrontational in that capacity.
All right, cool. There's another question I wanted to ask you, because someone's asked this question, so I'm putting it to the mandem, specifically to the mandem, right? Because this is a woman, so that's why I'm asking this question. This question's come up. It says, so men, why did they want her number if they were not really feeding her, stringing her along maybe for votes? So I want to get the mandem's kind of perspective on this. Do they think that the mandem were stringing her along? What was your kind of thoughts around this question here, right? Sean, since you were the last one speaking, I'll let you do, and then I'll go around to the mandem to see what they say.
I mean, I didn't see that take place, so that wouldn't be my first instinct. That happens. And I said that in my last review. Just because you get somebody your number doesn't mean you're interested. Doesn't mean that is a deal locked and loaded. It's different if we had complete conversations where we're like, I really like you, I see a future with you, versus me just giving you my number in a dating show, right? So I think at the end of the day, it has to come down to somebody. So in this setting, you can't be so cocky to think, oh, just because you gave somebody your number, that means you're solidified in the first round pick. Like, come on. I think no, I don't think that's stringing her along. It's just getting to know her. And men and women do this all the time. We may give each other a number, but there may be no interest, or we might not see, oh, she might be cool. Or, she has this business, or there's something she could do. And we're in a group setting together. I might have a ton of my coworkers' numbers, but that doesn't mean that I want her. It just means we communicate and we share something in common. So I don't think that's a dead giveaway that she was locked and loaded to move on.
Okay, appreciate that. 99 to the 2000s, what's your thoughts to this question?
I mean, I kind of agree with Sean when it comes to this. Like, just because you get someone's number is the barometer if they like you or not. My key thing is about what are these guys actually saying about you when it comes to the point of if I'm interested or not, do I pursue her or not? And I think the key thing is like, yes, he's trying to make connections to these gentlemen. These gentlemen don't want her. There's nothing you can give them the phone number. You can start sending SOS signals, smoke screens, whatever you want to do. If they're not interested in you, what are you going to do? You can't just fall up and like, well, they got my phone number, so they'll call me whenever they're interested, etc. If they're not interested. That's where we're getting to. I mean, yes, when we take it out of the context of the show and just in real life, yes, getting someone's number to string them along. Do guys do that? Yes. In this show, is to keep us to have communication when the cameras are not on. My issue is if she's gotten these phone numbers and with these four gentlemen, why isn't she able to have a conversation with these guys off the camera? Why is she more concerned about asking the gentleman in the open dating exactly what's happening? And if that's the case is, even though she got those phone numbers, no one's talking to her, then you have to answer your question. You have to answer the question right there. Yes, they got her number, but they're not interested. That part we don't know. But if we're going to play devil's advocate and you're trying to play Monday morning quarterback in the situation, if that's the case, then I mean, yes, she's an attractive woman, but again, these gentlemen don't like her. So what do you want to
do? I'm hearing you. Corey, what are you saying, brother? Last of the men to answer this question.
All right. So to me, I'll say it does depend. My answer is going to be a little bit different. It depends if the man will proactively gave her their number or if she asked them for the number. If they proactively gave her their number, then she has every right to hold their feet to the fire. Every right. Because you're not on her to play games. If you really want this woman, don't ask. I mean, get her number and do all that. But if you don't want her, don't ask for it. Don't give it to her. You know, I know it's hard. I know it's tough, but I understand it's a game as well, the show, so to speak. But if you're on there intentionally for love, then you're proactively giving your number out. It makes it look like you're playing games. And if she's not with the games, she has every right. She has every right to be upset, but she needs to direct that at the right people. You know, there's nothing wrong with saying, okay, I don't think now is the time to get the number, or I'd like to get to know you a little bit better before I give you my number. There's nothing wrong with that. It's called being grown. You don't have to say yes just because someone asks you a question. You don't have to say yes just because someone asks for your number. So I think it's about respect at the end of the day. If they were into her, you can show it. If you're not, you can also show that as well, but respectfully.
I'm hearing you. Listen, obviously my name is XF Boy, so maybe this is why I'm thinking this way. Listen, sometimes you just get the number, yeah, and it's like, you know, we had a good conversation, but actually when you get home and you realize I'm not really on it. You know, sometimes you're in the moment and the conversation might be flowing, and after you get home, you have a realization, it hits you, bam. Actually, when I actually deep it, I'm not really feeling it at the moment. Do you know what I mean? I'm not really feeling that, right? Or I might have other targets, you know, that I'm actually feeling more. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think getting a number is that deep. Listen, man, them can testify to this. If you've moved a girl before, okay, you've moved to a girl, you got a number. What happens when you get home? Sometimes you ring, there's no ring. Sometimes it happens, you don't get anywhere. You know what I mean? Just because you got a number, it doesn't mean nothing. And I think she put a lot of weight on why she's in the bottom because she got numbers. People get numbers all the time. Do you know what I'm saying? Like in real life, we give numbers out. In real life, you meet someone, you have a good conversation, you think you might be going somewhere, you give a number, and it doesn't always convert. The most important thing is, did it convert? And I love Onu's point, 99 to the 2000s. I love your point the best because you said, if she got those numbers, why couldn't she call them? Why did she have to out them at the restaurant? So you using that same excuse about I got numbers, I don't know why I'm in the bottom. The same thing can be said if you've got those numbers and there's connections, Abby, call them, right? Since you got those connections, call them, but you didn't. So the same way you're thinking about why I'm in the bottom is actually the same way you could have just called them. Those connections don't really exist just yet. They're early doors. We're all being nice, we're all being playful, and nobody wants to get eliminated. Let's keep it 100 a buck. I'm going to give you my number because I don't get eliminated. I'm not going to lie to you. If you think that's the F-boy, I ask your business, but it's a game show at the end of the day. As well as a dating show, it's a game show, and I have to play strategy to stay on. It's that simple. You know what I mean? We've seen what happens when you laser focus, you get evicted. What do you want to do about it? You know what I'm saying? But let's continue the conversation. Mandem, thank you for answering that question. Let's continue the conversation because I was asking the original question about Tasia's conversation with the boys, right or wrong. From player from the Himalayas, talk to me.
Boom. Red flag.
Oh.
Flag on the play, baby. You know what I'm saying? And I agree with Hood Bougie. She's direct. We seen that. Her questions were direct in the first episode and everything. She's a very direct person, but your numbers is wrong. Like, do your math, sweetie. It's 10 men. 4 of them gave you a number. You're at 40%. You're already below the curve. 1 is gone. You're still below the curve. So, like, unless that 1 was one of the people that you gave your number, you're still below the curve. It doesn't even matter. Like, no matter how you do it, you're below the curve. So common sense logically would have said, let me not walk up in here with my feelings, because that's what you are. You're still in your feelings. You're mad because last night you was at the bottom. Let me ask myself, why was I at the bottom? I thought I made good conversation with people. Let me go to the people that I did make contact with, see what I did good with them. Check out with the other people, take people to the side, not just group, come in and blow up everybody at the spot. Now everybody looking at you like, sis, slow down. That's how I looked at it. It's like, you might as well came in like Denzel Washington on training day. Like, I am King Kong. Like, chill out. Like, you're doing way too much right now. Just come in. You say you was ladylike. Be ladylike, be polite. Excuse me. I know we didn't get a chance to talk. Was that the reason why I was at the bottom with you? Okay, I thought we exchanged numbers. Did we have some miscommunication? I thought we were good. Let me just check it out. You had all the time. You had the men to yourself. Why would you do this open panel discussion with all of them right there? And like, okay, next, okay, calling on you. You tell me why you had a problem with me. Like, you're already coming in confrontational. So most men that don't like it, they want their peace. They're not going to sit here and go back and forth with you on that. They just going to write you off silently again. And you'll be back at the bottom again. So it's like, just chill out, Ma. Come in, bring down the energy in the room, be ladylike. Work the room. That's it. You got body. Work the room. Sashay all through.
Appreciate you, reformed player from the Himalayas. We appreciate you. Good points there. Red flag on that play. It's Seaways World. Talk to me, baby. What are you saying? Conversation of Tasia with the boys. What's your thoughts? Give us a lawyer's mind.
Yeah, for me, it wasn't that deep when she said it, when she kind of brought it up. The only thing that gave me the pause and the red flag was when I found out after she said it that they weren't even, one of them hadn't even met her, and the other one was like kind of loosely uninvolved, didn't get a number from her. I think that is what made it odd. But let's say those are the 4 people that she got numbers from. I don't see any problem using the opportunity to ask them a question. I do know, men like us to be chill, ladylike. I mean, that probably will go a little further, but I'm not going to say that she was wrong for asking a question if those were the people that she actually made connections with. I think what made it a little weird was the fact that, like, the responses were like, sis, I haven't even met you before. One other person was like, this is literally my first time meeting you, something like that. And the other person was like, yeah, I was kind of uninvolved. That made it a little weird. But I'm a Sag. I like bluntness. Shout out to all the Sages. I like bluntness. I actually think she's one of the most normal people on the show, to be honest. I just think she may not be, I think she stands out because I don't think she's playing the game, if that makes sense. I think she stands out because she may be normal in real life, but she may not be a good fit for the show versus the other people are more like playing the game. So I like her as a person more than I like most of them, to be honest. But I do think she's running a bit of a foul with some of the way she kind of approaches situations. So, but if I were her, I would want to know why I was on the bottom too. And like was said, this is not for everyone. I think it's kind of hard to bounce back from being on the bottom. We all have egos. We all have all these things. And I think she's handling it a little bit. She's taking it a little bit hard, which is probably why she kind of came off the way she did. But who's to say, how we all would act in that situation? It's not an easy situation to be in. But yeah, that's what I think.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much. It's Seaway's World. Good points there as well. All right, let's shift the conversation away from Tasia to Tyrone. Let me make this final point. My personal point of view towards Tasia, right, is that anytime you put men on blast like that, it's never a good look. Not for us men. I'm going to keep $100, yeah? Ladies, please, if you're going to put us on blast like that, yeah, just know we silently put you away. Yeah? Some man will probably say something, but a lot of us will be like, we heard you and we ain't dealing with you again. Right? So if you want to get your point across, remember, she said and this is why I said it again, she said I'm all about the feminine energy. And yet that was not feminine. That was not the art of charm. That was not the art of the wiles. That was not the art of the feminine energy at all. Right? So if we're going to be saying we're feminine, let's bring that into there, right? Because right now we're contradictory. I don't think she's that feminine, as she's saying. I actually don't think she's that feminine. Because when you say it, it often means you are not that feminine as you think you are. That's why I don't like the men saying I'm masculine, because it often means you probably have toxic masculinity and trying to cover that up as masculinity, right? There was nothing about what she just did with those men that was feminine about what she did in terms of what she said she is. If she had came at it a different way, should have realized, hey, actually, I could have got these guys inside. Corey, what you said in the very beginning was a perfect example. Hey, how can I improve? Do you know that endears men to you? To say, oh, how can I improve? It shows you're willing to learn and you're willing to listen. Men will get excited hearing that you want to learn and listen from when they're giving their opinion. Makes them feel like a king. That's a feminine. You know what I'm saying? So that was my personal opinion. I don't think she's a bad catch. I just think she just needs to learn how to go about her conversational patterns and the way she delivers certain questions. She did the exact same thing in the very first mixer. She was asking mad questions. Very lawyer-esque. Simone did the exact same thing. We said the exact same thing. The girl, I can't remember her name, the lawyer from a few seasons ago, did the exact same thing. A pattern of way of asking questions that come off as being interrogating rather than actually being a conversation. Okay, which Karen did the exact same thing. So she's not the only one that was going through that problem. All right, cool. Let's see what I said. Shade. No shade. So let's move it on to now Tyrone, because he had a great conversation, and I'm going to ask this question. Okay, all right. I'm going to ask this question. I think Onu, you might have been on a panel for this at the time because it was about Jason, right? Tyrone also expressed having mental health problems, similar to what Jason also. He had depression, but he said anxiety and had a PTSD and had an attack as well. He said as well, Tyrone. And I want to ask this question. I don't know. Maybe for me, I always put the thing out. Could be projected. I didn't feel the exact same way hearing Tyrone speak that I did with Jason. 99 House, you're already on my case. You can jump in first.
I actually like Tyrone. Honestly, it changed. Last week, I was I didn't understand why he was here, but you get the answers that he understands why he's here. He's done all the homework and he's not hiding who himself is. It wasn't the fact of the PTSD, the fact he was able to express it to the people that he was talking to, and the way he did it, that was a sense of maturity that I kind of appreciated with. So it's very similar to Jason when he talked about his mental health issues. Again, you're seeing it right here. If you're gonna be open to dating, open to dating, and you have mental issues in the past that you're working on or coming over, you have to be able to express that to your partner. Now, it can come off as a simp move, almost to get some brownie points, but you want to, and I get that. My issue is he's actually showing you exactly what is difficult for him and how he's overcoming and who he wants to be. And to me, that's the key thing with Tyrone. When I see him on camera, he doesn't tape well. He's he's aware the camera's on him, and again, it looks like he is. I want to say he's awkward. He's just it's a weird situation. He doesn't know how to respond to situation, so it looks off-putting. Whereas someone like Corey, for example, he tapes well because he understands. He wants people to watch him. It's everything. He can go with the flow. He has a suaveness factor. The thing with Tyrone, he doesn't have that. So what's his quality? His quality is being himself. As ironic or eerie it might seem, that's what he has to do in order for people to like him. And now, as you can see, everyone's on his bandwagon because of that. We didn't see that the first week, and we saw it in the second week. And again, as much as I hate to see, like, I see why he's there. I want to see him succeed. I don't know how long he can pull it off, because again, he doesn't have the traits that going to make him viable for the show for multiple weeks. And the whole I can only talk to 3 women at a time, and he's already made that decision right there. Again, it's even though it's kind of cheesy, at the same time, it's probably actually smart. Like, honestly, it's probably the best move for him. Just say that right there versus carrying people along. Now, him handling rejecting other women, that's the issue I have with Tyrone. That's what he didn't do well this episode. If anything did well episode, that was the case. Because if he's able to have these conversations with all these women, then how is it hard for him to tell them, hey, you know what, I'm not interested? I think it might be due to he's probably hasn't done this a lot. And this is probably the first time he doesn't seem like a person that's going to do online dating or do mass group dating like this. It's the first time he's been in a position like this. That's my main issue with Tyrone. The way he's the fact that he's doing this, commend him. The way he's going about this, excellent. The actual execution of breaking Carrie's heart is the issue.
We'll come on to that as well. I appreciate it, bro. Good expulsion. Okay, speaking to the masses, what was your thoughts around Tyrone? Great vulnerability convo with Zadia. But was it too soon? That's the question I should be asking. Sorry, I couldn't formulate the question very well. Was it too soon for him to have that type of conversation with Zadia?
Was it too soon? I can't really say if it's too soon. I think it's more so if you feel like the time is right. To be honest, because when he talked about the PTSD, it reminded me of Edwin, right? And if we reflect back on Edwin and what he spoke about in regards to his PTSD versus what Tyrone is saying now. So at least we get some type of preview of who Tyrone is. I mean, he did speak about his Army military experience with the casting video. So for him to speak on it, and then he did do his homework, he did get the therapy and those different things, and maybe he's proactively still going through those things. I did appreciate that part of the conversation. You do want to be not so open, but open enough where you're giving a person a little information in regards to who you are and what you've been through. So to me, I appreciate the conversation. I think Tyrone is probably the most authentic, natural guy on the show. Like, he's not as familiar with the dating scene, so he's not coming with a whole bag of tricks in his hand. You know, he's just really looking for love and really want to connect with whoever he's able to connect with. Of course, he could be smooth in other areas and things of that nature, but I think he's just being himself from what we can see of the second episode compared to some of these other guys. And I mean, I appreciate the conversation. At least he let her know, like, hey, this is what I've been through. This is what happened to me. And I've done the work. Opposed to, some people, they've been through it, but they haven't done the work, which a lot of times you get in these relationships. If you like that person and they tell you all the way toward the end, like, oh, by the way, I had PTSD, that can make a person scared and run, because that is a lot of weight to deal with. If you've been overseas and if you've been in combat and you're trained to be in combat, and then you come back over to the States or wherever you're living to be a civilian, that adjustment is not easy. So for him to go through what he's been through and have those appropriate adult-like conversations, I feel like in that particular case, it was necessary. Now, in regards to, you know, some of the things that 99 and 2000 mentioned in regards to what he did later in the episode, I did have an issue with as well. Because at the end of the day, whether you're on a game show or in real life, if your cutoff is 3 women at a time, let that also be known ahead of time. When you're meeting the different women at the mixer for the first episode, go ahead and let that be known. So if you have that 3 cutoff, they're already aware. But if he didn't do it, okay, but you do need to communicate effectively. If you have their numbers, call them and let them know. Don't go and tell another woman, you know, how you feel about the situation. And I don't even know if Shiloh was his top 3 or whatever, but for you to go and talk to another woman about another woman and you don't go and address it face to face, that's an issue in itself. So that's where Tyrone went left concerning that. But in regards to him expressing himself, being vulnerable in that situation, to go ahead and let whomever he's interested in know, I found it to be pretty okay. I didn't see it as a bad thing or a negative thing. And I'm just glad to know that he did take the work. He put in the time to go and do what he needed to do so he can make sure that he's not having anxiety attacks and all of these other things. So a guy like him that's proactively working towards, you know, healing and those things, that is the type of guy you do need to look toward in the sense of dating.
Love that, speaking to the masses. And that was actually one of the key points that I wanted to even stress about Tyrone, that I think was different to necessarily what I heard with Jay. But I like the fact that he's done the work, you know, and Zadia picked up on that he had done the work. You know what I'm saying? I felt that let me not go there. He's last season. We're not go there. Anyway, he comes to Seaway, you had a different opinion. So give me your perspective. Like, Tyrone was being vulnerable, but I was asking the question, was it too soon? And if it was too soon, why was it too soon?
I think we have to separate what's too soon for a game and what's too soon for real life. Because in real life, I don't feel like talking about any type of major traumas or major issues is usually, if we're generalizing, a good idea. I think in a real life scenario, if someone starts telling you about all of their PTSD and issues, or mommy issues, or daddy issues, or child trauma, or things like that on date 1, I think a lot of people would be like, okay, red flag, flag on the play. I need my red flag. Flag on the play. There's an issue. Thank you. There's an issue. Why is this person oversharing? Because we talk a lot about oversharing. I feel like that's a lot. In this game, though, I feel like they penalize people for not being open and honest. Like, that's what they use to send people home. So I'm not sure if he felt like he should share that because that's how people are successful in this show, or he was sharing that as like, hey, I want you to know, like, this is what comes with me. This is what's to me. And I'm going to let you know this right now so you can decide if you want to deal with that or not, which a lot of people don't do. They're selfish and they want to hold their stuff because they don't want you to know everything. So if that was his motive, you know, I will say shout out to him if that was his motive. Like, I want to give you the opportunity to decide if you want to deal with someone with PTSD. Then that to me is fair. But even if that was his motive, I still feel like a first date is a little soon. And on top of that, the way the camera shot it, it looked random. It didn't look like the first conversation, I think, between Walter and the girl with the blonde hair that's half Asian or something, or born in Korea. I keep forgetting her name. Sabrina, right. Their conversation seemed more organic and it flowed and it didn't seem like an overshare because it was like a natural progression into how it came up. With this particular scene, to me, it kind of gave oversharing tease because the way they cut it, it looked like they're talking about the sun and the roses, and then all of a sudden he got PTSD. It just didn't flow to me. So I would lean towards too soon, but everybody got to do them. So if you want to put it out there, who am I to tell you it's too soon? You put it out there and you deal, long as you're okay with whatever consequences that comes from sharing something that early. If he's like, hey, I want to let her know I have PTSD, and if she judges me, great. If she don't, great. then share. Do what you want to do. But if you don't feel that way, you may want to hold it till someone has more context on you as a person, maybe a second date, third date, before you start sharing all of these things. But I'm an undersharer. That's my perspective. So it'll take a lot for you to be figuring out about my childhood traumas, which I really don't have any, thank God. But I mean, it's gonna take a lot for you to know like my deep dark secrets. I'm not doing all that for me. But I know some people lean more towards oversharing, so they may have a different perspective. So I say too soon with the caveat.
Okay, appreciate C-Way. Appreciate C-Way's world. Okay, anyone else agree with that perspective that it might have been too soon? Anyone else agree with that perspective that it might have been too soon, perhaps, in the process? Yes, Bouger, talk to me, baby.
Okay, so the question was, I hear around social media, I understood the assignment. So did he really understand the assignment? Because he, came in like, he's been watching the previous shows. And because when he first at the beginning of the show, when they was, wherever they were at, he was like, okay, I got to work the room. I know I got to stay. So it's like he was preparing himself prior to the show. I think he's a nice guy in real life. I like this word. I think he's a cool guy. I think he's a real down to earth, probably real nice guy that has done the work. But TV is not for everyone. And I'm just going to say that if you have these type of issues and these things going on, maybe Ready to Love is not for you. Because if it takes you out of character, I understand that he felt like it's fast paced and this is something that you have to do in order to stay. But if you lose yourself in the process, because when the lights, camera, and everything go off, you still have a life. So why are you sharing all this personal information so soon? Because you don't even know if you can trust Zadia. You don't know who she is. I mean, that's some personal information. And again, I'm just going to say, like, even in, workplace, we don't just go out and just share everything or change who we are. So if you let Ready to Love change you and it's only been like 2 days or 2 shots, you're going to be in trouble. And then it showed that he wasn't ready for this type of experience because he, like I said, probably watched Kojo's show, watched the other things and was like, let me learn these lessons. And then he's like, oh my, it's too much for me. I can't handle 3 women. So that just shows that he wasn't ready. He didn't understand the assignment and it was too soon. So that's all I have to say about, what's his name again? Tyrone. But again, I like him in real life, probably. And, good guys sometimes come in last, but I think maybe this is not for him.
That's actually a fair point. I can't. That's a fair point. You know what I mean? That's a different point to consider. Okay, yeah, well, I can rock with that, Hood Boucher, and his series as well. I can rock with that as well. Corey, talk to me, and then we'll get Reformed player from the Himalayas as well after you. Go for it.
Okay, so what I want us to do, we have to be really careful how we say if it's too soon or not too soon. I think too soon matters depending upon the attraction that other person across the table has in you. Let's be real. A lot of men get away with a lot of stuff they say and do based on attraction. If that woman is into that man, nothing he can say is going to be wrong. She's into that man. Now, in this situation, I think that Zadia was really into Tyrone. But if she wasn't, she handled the question very well by giving him an answer of a softness and understanding. And the saying goes, don't come to me with a problem. Come to me with a problem and a solution. And that's exactly what he did. So when he spoke about what he was going through, he also talked about his work that he put in. Like Dr. Dunny said, man, that's what it's about. It's the work you put in after the problem. And I think when it comes to soon or not soon, I think it boils down to also how your problems is going to impact the other person. So in this situation, I think that it will impact your partner. If it's someone that you've been with in the past and it was a bad relationship, it was abusive, whatever cases, that won't necessarily impact that person, your partner, directly because they know how to address themselves. But when it's something about your behavior that can impact the person across the table from you, that is a conversation that needs to be had. And whether it's too soon or not too soon, again, I think it was a touch for Tyrone. I think he did this to see where her attraction was to him. Because if it wasn't an attraction there, she would have been talking bad about him in the confessional, which she did not do. Even if it was to his face in the back and then talking back about him behind his back in the confessional, she would have done that, but she didn't do that. She kept it clean all the way through. So now he knows where he stands with Zadia. So to me, I think that it really just boils down on about level of attraction.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I like that too. I like that point too. Different perspective. I like that too. All right. Reformed player from the Himalaya.
Yeah, I'm definitely on the same page with Corey. It is a definitely the attraction factor for the other person, also the safety factor with the other person. If a person is making you feel safe enough to share whatever's on your heart, you're going to share whatever's on your heart. Okay. PTSD, especially a military-based form of it, is something that you need to share with anybody that is potentially going to be your partner, may even be your friend, because depending on the level of trauma that you went through during that war experience, and he did 2 terms. And I'm assuming because he's in our age group around the Iraq terms. I had a friend that did those 2 terms. He did some terms during that too. The person that he was before he left was a total different person when he came back. That person said everything moving was the enemy. That's a lot to get your mind out of. And that takes a lot of transitioning. And so I give him credit because he's already doing the process of recovery, getting back to being an actual civilian. But when you're literally living in a mental state that everything is after you, everything can kill you, my partner could be a potential threat unknowingly to them. So it is important for me to go ahead and tell them that, hey, sometimes in my sleep, I might have night terrors. Sometimes I might jump out my sleep. Sometimes I think I see things that is not really happening at the moment. It's a lot that goes on with that. So he needed to share that, whether it was on this camera or off the camera. I don't think that personally is a too soon thing. Other things that we share sometimes, yeah, that might be too soon. Like some of the other conversations that other couples were having later on about sex and all that, that could be saved. That could be saved for later on dates and stuff. But had he did this during the mixer, then I would have said, yeah, this is a problem. You're not healed. You're not ready. You're going around the room trying to get sympathy and stuff. But he picked and chose the people that he wanted to tell this to. And I say that because I'm under the impression that he didn't say that with Carrie. That's why she wasn't in his top 3 of who he can handle or whatnot, because he didn't feel safe enough to tell her that conversation. Now, is he wrong for going to talk about not telling Carrie why he didn't pick her and going to tell somebody else? Yes, he is dead wrong. That's a red flag on that play right there. He should have never did that. He should have kept that either to himself or actually came forth with Carrie. Now, military people live by a don't ask, don't tell policy. So if I don't have to lie to you, I'm just going to keep quiet, not tell you anything. You ask me, then yeah, I'm going to come forth and tell you. That's how military people live. So I kind of get where he was probably going with it. But like I said, he should have never went to Shiloh and told her anything of the matter between him and Carrie or any other lady for that matter. Just kept it strictly between them and what's going on with them. So that part, he was immature on that and stuff. But for me, no, not too soon. I know other people feel differently, but that kind of particular thing, I want to know up front, say I might spend a night with you. I don't need you jumping out your sleep, ready to kill me, thinking I'm something I'm not. So that's personal. I don't know, excuse me. I'll let it go from there.
Appreciate that, reform player from the Himalaya. Okay. Saved and Sexy. What's your thoughts on this question, man? Is it too soon?
No, I don't think it was too soon because it's about the receiver and the person delivering the message, right? So between the two of them, it seemed to go over very well. And I think for Tyrone, he is knowing his limitations and boundaries and likely probably doesn't want to get too attached to somebody that's not going to want him for who he really is. So it could be also a way to protect himself. It may seem very vulnerable, and it is, but people, who are in that situation, they may be like, you know what, let me just put it out there now so that I don't get too attached to this person that I'm kind of like. and then miss out on an option once they find out down the line when we've already started to make connections. And when you heard him explain it, it made a lot of sense. You know, he said, I wanted to be able to give her a choice. I wanted her to be fully informed and know upfront. And that's, I got to respect that brother, you know, for knowing that he is in a challenging situation and going through something, but say, hey, listen, I'd rather put it out there first. And I think we hear that from us men, hear that from women very often, is like, tell us up front, let us know, be honest. And I got to respect him for doing that. The thing that does give me somewhat pause about Tyrone, and I'm just kind of like watching, is he has also some serious issues with his mother. The way he described his mom and talking about how out there she was and how men were kind of in and out of his home as a kid, and he saw that for me is a little concerning, because I don't know. I don't want to tell someone how to frame their story, but to me, it sounds like he's still not over that. He still may not have processed why that happened. And we all know that how a man loves and how he relates to women is in many instances has direct connections to his relationship with his mother. So I haven't heard more about his relationship with his mom other than that. So perhaps there's more to see and there's more depth there. But at this early stage, those things together kind of give me a little bit of concern. But again, back to the original question, I think it was perfectly timed, and it's perfectly timed for him. And I think it worked for him, and it worked for Zadia as well.
I'm hearing you. Everyone's spoken on this topic, isn't it, right now? Everyone's spoken, isn't it? I haven't missed anybody out. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I guess I'm in two minds. I'm agreeing that, you know, it should be up front, but also part of me is like, I mean, did he scope the landscape before saying this? You know what I'm saying? Like, I personally, I think it's slightly different because, like I said, I think he's done the work, which is what Zadia said. He's done the work. And so it's a little bit different because he's actually put, it reminds me a bit of like the Woody Armani from Married at First Sight, where Woody explained, I have anger issues, but I've done the work. And in that case, when you're given that kind of information, it's much more different than saying, I'm dealing with this currently, and I haven't really done the work to get to a place where I'm handling the situation. So it gave me a bit of pause, but at the same time, I can see his thinking behind, look, I just got to get it out there from the beginning so that you can either like me or not like me. You know what I mean? So I also get that point of view too. I also get the other side, which is that sometimes that can also be a place where it's going to stop people from trying to get to know you first a little bit, have a little bit of a buy-in, and then kind of releasing that information. But like I said, I get both sides. I'm not saying, you know, I'm not saying he's wrong for it, and I'm not saying he's necessarily right for it. I think everything's context, everything's reading the room. Audience is important as well. Zadia seemed to, Zadia seemed to be receptive to it, but then so was Kyra. So people will be receptive to a lot of things and do other things after. Do you know what I mean? But she seemed to be okay with it, and she looked like she would. My only thing about, hold on, there's a pause in there, and it wasn't for Tyrone, it was for Zadia in that conversation. The intonation and the highlight of the word "I build people" concerned me. Right, I was starting to hear build a bear, build a bear, build a bear man. You know what I mean? I started hearing build a man. Like when she heard, that when he was mentioning his PTSD, it's almost as if what she heard was a project. Oh no, we're gonna build you up, baby. Like that's what I thought I was hearing. So that's my own little pause for Zadia as well, that she might have that build a man attitude, in situations. So, but she's definitely obviously seemingly feeling Tyrone as well. So, okay, really quickly, I want to ask that question. How should have Tyrone handled the situation, with the conversation with, is it Kerry? Kerry? The conversation with Kerry? How should Tyrone have handled the situation? Because part of me is like, did he say it coldly? Or did he just say, you don't want you no more, baby? And it's a bit painful. You know what I mean? Like, but that could just be my bias as a man. I think I'm just kind of maybe being insensitive to her feelings. How could have Tyrone handled the situation a bit better? Just a real quick kind of answer, like a minute or two answer from each individual person. How best could have Tyrone handled the situation? I know he should have spoken to Kerry and not spoken to his therapist Silo, but how could you have handled the situation better? All right, let me go from top to bottom. Reform player from the Himalaya, real quick, minute or two response. How could have Tyrone done better in responding to that situation?
Had he said it to Kerry the way Kerry said it, yeah, he could have not said nothing at all if he said it exactly how she repeated it to him, because it was a little cold in there, but you see that with him as he works the room, trying to get to know people, he kind of cold and distant. And definitely not talk to Shiloh, or just let it fizz out. Just really let it fizz out. This is a game show. After a while, you could just start letting time go by to somebody else. That's it. Like, or tell her straight out, hey, I got 3 other people right now. I can't handle a 4th. Period.
Okay. I'm hearing that. 99s to the 2000s. What quick minute response? How do you think could have handled it better?
Cash, I really appreciate the time we spent together. However, there's 3 other women here I really want to seek a lot more. Hopefully, we can still be friends.
Yo, that Microsoft Word pinpoint was mad, fam. Love it, fam. Man said, I'm going to give you these paragraphs real quick, short and powerful. Speaking to the masses, just a minute response. How could he have done better in terms of handling that situation?
Instead of calling Shiloh, he should have just called her and say, hey, I have 3-person limit. And right now, I'm not seeing where this is going right now. And this is it. But be direct, don't go to other people and talking to other people. Talk to that person face to face. You're grown, you're over the age of 30, 35. Just say it like it is. Say it with your chest. Let it be known. Of course, be graceful and be nice, but just let it be known so it's no confusion and your name don't come up at the table full of women. And now you look like the bad guy at the end of the day.
Loving that. C Way, talk to me. How should Tyrone handle the situation with Kerry?
No conversation. I think any conversation is a big red flag to me. Like, you guys have known each other for all of 24 to 48 hours. If you were interested in other people, then you just pursue other options. Like, if a man's calling me talking about, it's been a day and he's breaking up with me. Like, you're breaking up with me after 24 hours. Like, why? That's weird. So I just feel like his social awkwardness makes him do these things. So I understand why he's doing it, because I know people who kind of act like him. I feel like he's socially awkward, so he's trying to manage situations and manage people. And by managing the situation, he made it more awkward when he really should have just not said nothing at all. Because any conversation he had, even if he was nice about it, would have just been weird all the way up to rude, like he was. And of course, we already know you shouldn't be talking to other people about it. That made it worse. So I would go with say nothing and live your life.
Love that. Appreciate that. Hood Boucher.
So I'm going to go to, he did not know how to recognize his safe place. With the whole Zadia thing, how you know her for like a week or whatever, and you're giving all this information. So I'm going to go with Shiloh. You don't know if she's a safe place. I know friends that I don't have to say this is G classified before I tell you. Be like, let me tell you this. So he didn't know if Shyla was making her his counselor. I feel bad. He thought she was a safe place, but I guess girl code, or I don't know if she was being messy, but that was not his safe place to tell his, how he was feeling. He was feeling bad or whatever. But with he should just shut up, because what's his name? Corey had enough sense. Corey, we thought he was a little slow, but Corey had enough sense to ask, "Oh girl, if I kiss you, would you tell somebody?" So he didn't give Zadia that what's her name, Shadow, that disclosure. Like, baby, if I tell you what I really was thinking, is it secret? Is this a safe place? That's all I have to say.
Come on now.
All right. We got to get back to a place of truth, people. You want honesty from a man. He gives you honesty, and then we can clown him for that same honesty you wanting from a guy. He may have said the wrong thing. He acknowledged that, when he spoke with Shiloh, he acknowledged it. And I think that's the important piece, is that he acknowledged he messed up. And it's hard to go back to something where you know you messed up. It may have been hard for him to reach back out to Carrie, whatever her name is, Carrie, and tell her, you know, hey, I apologize for the way I said this. It was not my intention. I don't think Shiloh would throw him under the bus. I think Shiloh said that to protect him, to protect his character, because she received that phone call from him saying, you know, I made a mistake. Now, he should have said that to Carrie, but that he couldn't do that because I guess something within him, he felt like it may have been hard for him to go back to her and say that. So to me, I don't think that necessarily it was Shiloh's, you know, fault for breaking it up. I think I'm more about Carrie, because he brought up, you know, it's just a simple fact that he wasn't into you and there was some bad news you received. Would you have preferred for him to just lie to you and just say, okay, yeah, be into me and forget about somebody else? You're redirecting your energy towards me when you shouldn't, because I'm not into you. And I think he was honest with himself and being honest with her. Now, sometimes honesty can cut deep, but sometimes honesty is still needed. So I didn't have a problem with him being honest with her. Maybe could have touched it up or had a little more finesse with it. But him saying what he actually meant, I have no problem with that whatsoever.
It's a madness. I hear you. I hear you on that. Saved and Sexy, what are you saying, brother?
Yeah, pretty much similar to what everybody said. Like, if that's the way he was feeling, he should not have gone to Shiloh to air those feelings out. He should have either one, had a conversation directly with Carrie, and or just, you know, kind of continue with the three people that he's most interested in. But I really don't think, you know, especially in a dating environment like this, or dating at all, you know, if you're dating multiple people, you shouldn't be going to the other person and being like, oh, you know, I don't have capacity for her right now. It's like, okay, what good is that information doing her? You know what I mean? Like, share that with your boys, a friend, somebody else. But if you are having an issue with somebody else that you're seeing or potentially entertaining, just either tell them or don't. But putting other people in the mix also allows the telephone game to take place, and perhaps something you say getting misconstrued, or the person taking the information and translating it back in a different way. And that happens too often. So that is my main issue with who you communicate what to. You really want to be careful with that, especially if it could come back to the person in a very hurtful way. And it seems like it hurt Carrie and took her off guard. So that was my thought. And I don't think he was doing it intentionally, but that is what can happen if you don't properly plan what you say to the right person.
Mm-hmm. Oui. Reform Play, so you wanted to say something real quick?
Yeah, I'm gonna disagree with Corey just respectfully a little bit, just on the Shiloh part or whatnot. And I see a couple people in the chat saying Shiloh is a therapy, you know, she's a coach, she's an intimacy coach and stuff. And that should give her or make her a safe space. But yeah, she was being messy. I'm sorry, because if she was a real intimacy coach and she was trying to help him, she would have told him to go and tell her how you're feeling, or just kept her mouth closed herself and not said anything. That was not her place to be saying anything. She could have went back to him afterwards. He's still in the game, and said, hey, look, I think you owe Carrie an explanation. She said this at the chat. Woo. This is what was said. Go tell her something so she could feel a little bit better. She didn't do that. She took the opportunity to throw Carrie under the bus real quick in a slick way, and throw Tyrone under there too in her own way. So no, she's not a safe space. Like you said, she should have been, but she's messy. I'm sorry.
It's tight, you know. It's tight. Do you know what? I this is a very complicated situation. There's a couple things that are happening in this scenario, right? Number one is obviously I don't have a problem with him talking to Shiloh. I think that's not a problem, but he has to be aware that obviously, you know, there are ties that happen, you know, with women, and the ties with men. Certain information is going to go out a certain way. I think also Shiloh, if she didn't do this, she messed up by not sending him back to Carrie to have a conversation to explain what happened, right? because what that does, and obviously nobody would have known that until Shallow brought it up. Now, the problem with Shallow bringing it up in the conversation is that one, it shows that Tyrone talks to you, all right, about other women. That's problematic. That makes you, now you've got a price on your head, okay, because now they know that Tyrone speaks to you, and whatever they say with Tyrone can come back to you. You're now looking like a threat, okay, that you're not going to be a safe place, because that information is going to come out, whether what they speak with. Now, listen, don't get twisted. We all know that certain information is going to go to someone else, but to know that it's definitely going out, it's problematic, right? And also as well, I felt like defending him in that place it's a problem in the sense of the fact that he needs to be able to handle certain situations himself, even if you felt like, you know, he was being genuine. I think he was being genuine. I don't think he was trying to play Kerry. I don't think he was trying to do Kerry no harm. You know what I'm saying? But the mere fact that you said, oh, I don't think that's what he's really saying, now makes Kerry feel even more hurt, because now she knows that he spoke to someone else and didn't come back to her to even have a conversation about what happened, and told another woman. That's embarrassing for Kerry. Do you see? So there's just little things, and I don't think both Shiloh or Tyrone were trying to do anything mad or trying to be disrespectful to anyone. It's just that certain behavior has a connotation and has a consequence. And I think there's a consequence with that behavior that, unfortunately, Shiloh dispensing that information in that given scenario. Do you know what? It might have been a bit better to do it one-to-one. Even then, it would be a little bit tricky, because this information going from Shiloh to Kerry gets back to the group somehow, some way. But doing it in front of the whole group is kind of peak, man. Do you know what I'm saying? I genuinely think she was trying to defend him. I think she was trying to defend him. I think she saw that he was being exposed. I think they have some prior history as well. You know, that's your friend. You know what I mean? You want to defend your friend a little bit, and I get it. I think she just overstepped the line, and she went too far. But we'll discuss Shiloh a little bit later on, because she said something that was interesting during the conversation with the group, and I said it was hella cocky. But anyway, let me just leave that there. Let's move on to the next. Let's move on to the next questions. That was good answers that you guys gave, and I appreciate you guys connecting on that conversation. My next one I want to talk about, let me go to my notes, baby. We're moving on to the famous one, which is a Corey and Sabrina situation, okay? Or we can say Corey, Sabrina, and Mummin. The Corey conversation with Sabrina. You know, we want to know what your thoughts were, and what do you think went right or wrong, whichever one you choose. Corey and Sabrina, what do you think went right or wrong? All right, cool. Who wants to go first on this? Who has a strong opinion on this subject right here? Corey and Sabrina. Who has a strong opinion? Let's start off hard and fast. Huh? You're all just looking at me. Nobody want to say they have a strong opinion. And yet when someone says something, you're going to be the first one to say a rebuttal. Huh? Come on. Who's got a strong opinion here? I'm going to have to do ip, dip, do. All right. Ip, dip, do. You start. No, jokes. Yes, Hood Bouger. Thank you. Go for it.
I just say that Corey, first of all, he playing a game like copy and paste. Sabrina is a grown woman. She's like 46. And she like, look, boy, I'm not about to play these games. Her key phrase was pump your brakes, shorty. So she was just like, just going to where, you know how you just like that little boy that he's like at boy mannerism. So Sabrina, I don't even know why they showed us that, because he wasn't even a match for her. She was just like, you don't have no conversation. You don't have anything going on. So, you know, he just need to stay in his lane with whoever he fixed the tire for. There's nothing about Corey. Like, nobody wants to talk to Corey. He like, I was gonna call on the download because he said something about Corey should have went first before Carrington. But I'm like, he going soon. But you know, Corey just there. I don't know. He's that little boy that you just tap on the head. He a grown man, but he has child tendencies. So there was nothing really. I don't even know why we gonna spend time on Corey and Sabrina, because she's a grown woman again.
I'm hearing you, Boucher. I'm hearing you. What's going on with Corey, man? What's going on with Corey? Answer this for me. Who's got something to say about Corey? Answer me. See, wait, since you haven't got much to say, I think you got a lot to say. What about Corey?
I don't have much to say about Corey and Sabrina. But Corey, I do. A little bit.
Okay, talk about Corey. That's fine.
I think Corey last episode gave me what was his name? Terrence, whatever the crap his name was from last season. With the lines and stuff. He gave me creepy tease. He gave me all of that. This episode though, he was still giving me that through the Sabrina conversation, and that's kind of why I don't have much to say. I mean, Sabrina kind of blew him off. I was kind of happy she blew him off. Keep it moving. But when he got to the tire changing and that whole scene, he still did creepy stuff in that scene. I'm sure we'll get there later, unless we're gonna get to it now. I saw a different side to Corey. He actually gave me more like I'm awkward versus I'm creepy. Like something turned, and something literally turned because I literally thought he was creepy up until that date that he had, and I was like, wait, I don't think he's actually creepy. I think he's just awkward. I think he's just a little corny. I like that. That is what kind of switched to me, and I was like, and wait, I laughed at him a few times. He's kind of funny. I mean, I really want to see what happens after the first date because he goes on and on and on about how he's good at first dates, but he's not good after that. So I kind of want to see what happens with him if he can be consistent with one person and get over this corny line hump that he's on. Because I don't know if it's just like a defense mechanism where like he just says these corny things because he's awkward. He's also 40 and comes off really young. And I think that's why we keep saying he's a young man compared to Sabrina. Sabrina's 45, he's 40, but he comes off really young. He looks young and he comes off young. Like if I didn't know, I would think he was in like his 20s and 30s with the way he acts. He acts really, he doesn't act like a typical 40-year-old. So I think he's just young. I think he's young, acting in his mind. I think he's awkward. I think he's corny. But there's those type of people work for someone if that is his only issue. I actually hope he stays on the show because I want to know what is causing him, other than him being corny, to be stuck in this one date cycle. Because his date that he had at the park was cute. Minus the inappropriate tree hugging situation. Him coming behind her and invading her personal space, I do want to put that out there, was weird. And the only reason why it didn't come off as weird on camera because she seemed okay with it. But if she wasn't okay with it or didn't like brush it off, that would have been a very inappropriate situation. But because she seemed to receive it okay, I'm not saying she loved it because she did was kind of like, why are you in my space? But she kind of went with the flow. She's more like, kind of cash with it. I think it came off better. But if it was a different person with a different reaction, that would have been very inappropriate and that would have been very awkward. And he should not do that ever again. That was not good. But outside of that, I thought it was a really cute date and I saw a different side to Corey. So I hope he stays on so we can see how he evolves in his vibe. So I'm actually not dragging him.
Cool. No problem at all. We'll come on to Corey and Moomin after I'll ask you guys questions. Actually, no, let's deal with it now. In one whole go. Right, me. All right. Ubuje, yes?
I didn't know you were going to go with the movie.
I know, my bad. Yeah, go for it. My bad, sorry.
So I think she was giving him a pass because he changed the tire. Because I was that chick. A dude changed my tire, and I was like, okay, now I'm going to give you a date. Then next thing you know, after the date, he was hugging me. And then, it was all kind of shenanigans, and the relationship went too long. So I think she just, felt like, like nobody else. They see me out there, with the flat tire. He's now her Prince Charming, knight in shining armor, whatever you want to call it. Every woman wants to be saved. We can say we are whatever, and I see Corey shaking his head, but I got caught up in the sauce. I was that chick that somebody changed my tire on a Sunday, and I was like, he's just such a nice guy. And then you start putting your blinders on, and then you just don't see the red flags. Where are red flags that okay, thank you. Them red flags are still there. Just because he changed that tire, ladies, we gotta stop ignoring the red flags. All that creepy stuff, no, those red flags are beep beep all over the place. Yeah, that was a gentleman move. I did see a different side of him, but it wasn't enough to make me change my mind because my tire situation did not go well. He was still a creep.
I'm hearing you. I'm not gonna lie to you. That scene with Moomin, I was concerned. I'm not gonna lie to you. But yeah, who's opened their mic? Oh yeah, go for. Oh no, you open your mic. Corey, you can go after.
Yeah.
Go for it. Go for it.
I'm
90s, 99 to 2000s.
So my issue with Corey is like we take his age away from it. This guy's very immature, and he wants to be immature, and he's just using this. It's sad. It's sad to watch. Like honestly, his game is to separate you from the group and see how far he can get. How far he can get with you. That's his. I mean, that's his game. He has it. He has it rehearsed and recite down. That's been pretty much what he wants to do. He messed up in the mixer trying to talk to everyone there versus just trying to talk to the women as they approached him. So that's where he where he messed up. Honestly, that was enough for him to be kicked out or voted out. It didn't happen. So it didn't happen during the first week. So again, like you would think, like when the women have the power, that they could have they would have taken him out. The problem that we're arising is we have women now finding good qualities about him and keep him long. And he's going to be stringing along as far as he can let them. That's one of my issues I have with Corey. Again, even Lex Luthor did good things. Doesn't make he's a good person. So my issue is like, why are we keeping him around? Now, on the flipped hand, we talk about Sabrina. Sabrina is up. Maturity is through the roof. And honestly, she's not here for games, but at the same time, it's like she just wants to be with someone that's going to F with her for the next 20 years. Corey just wants one date, so it's not going to work out. Moomin is a good girl. She has good qualities about her. That I don't think she's very mature in her thinking. The fact that she was able to be sucked in just like that after one date, or after God just doing something nice for her plus the one date, to now he's singing his praises to the group. To me, it's like, I don't know what happened, but I felt like I missed like 3 episodes, because I thought the consensus was we all hate Corey, to now like multiple women love Corey at the end of episode 3. So I don't know what happened or what episodes I lost. Maybe something happened with my HD. I don't know what happened, but at the same time, it's like, okay, we understand why Corey is not the type of person that's meant. I mean, yes, maybe it's meant for a first date or to go out once, but it's not someone you want to maintain a relationship or relationship with. Someone that you want to date long term. That he doesn't want to be that type of person. So why are we putting him in his roles? The women who are concerning or have discernment when it comes to dating are able to see this out and put him in his place time and time again. The women who don't have that quality, don't have that discernment yet, or don't have that have the maturity when it comes to dating, are being sucked in. And again, yes, he fixed the tire for the girl, but that doesn't mean that he can grind up her on a date in the park, secluded away from everybody else. Because God knows it's not the fact of what he was doing, that's one thing. The fact of what he was saying is another. And he doesn't care. And the boy don't care.
Okay, so for me, I think that Corey has got to be the luckiest man on this show. The reason why I say that is because not only did he look up and she had a flat tire, he was able to fix it. Women love men who can work with their hands. Women love men who can build things with their hands. So it looked good. It's a good look for him. But not only that, he was lucky because it ended up being her love language. That's what gave it an extra boost for him. Now, during the date, they meet in the park. He gives her a hug. Next thing you know, he pulling out his phone. He doing selfies. Do you know her well enough to be doing selfies? So to me, that says he's the type of guy who wants to take pictures with pretty girls to say, hey, look what I can do. Look who I can get. Or to lie and say, yeah, I smashed her. Yeah, this is me all day right here. So after that, he says, this is where I excel. First dates, this is where I excel. I got my pad and pen. I was ready to take notes. He didn't show me anything but the same old Corey that he normally is. So to me, I think that for Corey, he has a lot growing up to do. He can't make the second date because he messes up on the first date. He say he has a problem with the second date. The problem is not you getting going on the second date, is you getting a second date. He really lucked up with Moment, because the fact that he got behind her in her personal space, he knew exactly what he was doing. He was trying to let her feel something. If you catch my drift, he was trying to make her feel something and looking for a response to that feeling. And he actually got the response that he wanted. That was his game. Get the women alone, let them see what he got, what he's working with, and they're gonna be mesmerized and just want to be with him. So you got to understand something, ladies and gentlemen. I want you guys to understand this from my point of view. When a man does this type of behavior, when he does something that's just so idiotic to you, that's so immature to you, he does it over and over and over again. There's a reason why. There's a reason why he's not listening to what Sabrina had to say. There's a reason why he's not listening to what other women have to say, because he has tried this before and it's worked for him. Point blank simple. He's going to continue to do what he feels is going to work for him, even though the right woman, the good women out here, are not going to fall for that. They're not going to play those games with him. He's saying, I'll take my chances. I'll talk to this woman, that woman. I'll talk to 4 women. One out of the 4 is willing to fall for it. That was his reason for going around to do the whole round table, going around to everybody, asking for their number for a date for the same weekend. I don't know how he was going to do that, but that's the reason why he did that. So out of the 10 women that were there, he felt he was good to get 1, good to get 1 or 2. And to him, that's a win. So you got to understand the mentality of men who think like this. And I just want to make you guys aware of it. That's all. Red flags all day, but you got to understand when you see guys like this coming your way, if you're not for it, there's no use of talking to them. Just go your own way.
Hey, I hear you, bro. Solid stuff. Sorry, who's next? Sorry, my bad.
I can go. So when you have mastered being fake and you have not mastered being real, that's Corey's problem. You just out here being fake with everything. Nothing about you is authentic. Nothing about you is being real. You're literally out here with your own strategy, your own game, and it's an epic fail. This literally reminds me of the movie Love Don't Cost a Thing, where you wasn't getting the ladies at one point in your life, and you figured out, let me get some tapes, let me get some coaching, let me get my body right, let me get a entourage and a crew to boost me up, whatever I gotta do to get the number, secure the date, and do whatever else you're trying to do. And I just found it so interesting how toward the end of this episode, when he was at the bottom 2, he was instead of asking the young lady, well, can I get a second date? Can I get a second date? That's all you care about. Like, you're not even thinking about how you moving mad out here. Talking about 6-pack, 6 figures, 6 feet. That already does 666. You moving, sir. You moving, sir. You got a whole strategy, but it is not what some of these ladies are looking for. And you coming out here with this weak sauce with Sabrina. She is a grown woman. She don't got time to play. She got real life situations going on. She says she's looking for love. That's what she's looking for. And you instead of trying to get something that is not on your level, not in your league whatsoever, playing games. See, he out his league. You trying to talk to a woman that just don't got time. But see, the problem is some of these ladies out here have given him the time, making him think that he deserves it. No. As ladies, we should look at this, and this is not to come down on him in any way, but there are men that are out here, and ladies too, that run game, and really the game ain't good. But because some people's standards are low, or some people are desperate, or whatever the case may be, they fall for it, or maybe they don't even have discerning of spirits to even detect what's behind what he got going on. To be honest, even though the lady was okay with him jumping behind her, to me, that said a lot in itself, because she said that she was saving herself for marriage, that she believed in Christ and all of that. You should just been respectful in that regard. But even if she didn't say what her religious stance was, you should just respect the woman in general. On episode 2, you already trying to jump behind a woman. That should kind of tell you what type of man that you looking for or looking toward or you taking in. You want a man that sit up there and entertain anything that just come by? Like, you have no standards. No standards. Men should have standards too, just as much as women should. Men should have standards. You out here just doing whatever, recklessly. That man don't even have a strategy at all. Like, it's not good. He don't know how to execute it. It's poor. But for whatever reason, he's still on this show. That first episode was very, 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 very clear. If he didn't go off on the first episode, he should have went by the second or the third. If this man is still on this show all the way to the end or towards the end, I'm just going to be looking at everybody sideways, because it's just saying to me the standard. What are our standards when it comes down to dating and come down to saying we liking somebody? Just because somebody do one act of kindness for you one time, that's enough to fall in love with that person? People need to be vetted in these streets. The devil be out here doing nice stuff for people too. But that don't mean he good. Just like how 99-2000 said about Lex Luthor. Anybody that know about the Justice League, he was a straight villain. So what is we really talking about? And I ain't saying that Corey is the devil, but I'm just saying his ways ain't God-like. It's not. And that's not what women should be looking toward. And that's what men should not be learning and doing in these streets. We just calling this stuff correct. No, this is incorrect. Incorrect for the show, incorrect for real life. This is what we talk. This is what we seeing. And they keeping this man. Why? They didn't let Lamont go. Bring him back. I know his poetry was not so, wrong time. But can we bring him back? At least he trying. But Corey over here, he being fake. I'm telling you, if this is what we're gonna continue to get concerning this show and any of these other shows, man, they can just go ahead and hang it up, because it's a waste of time.
Good point. Speaking to the masters. Good points. Who's next? Go.
Wookin' putting up in all the wrong paces. Wookin' putting up. That's all I could say on this show today. You know what I'm saying? These people is hot and ready. And that's all it is to it. Corey cannot speak to nobody. He's making us players out here look real bad on the scene, okay? You hit red flags with Sabrina. She gave you a 1st of 10. You hit a red flag on her when she walked in. You said, "Oh, I see you walk in," and all I thought was, "All I can do with that." What? That's the best line you could come up with. You had her right there. You had the whole play in your head. The ball was in your hands. You dropped it right there, brother. What are you doing? Then she had to coach you through the date with her. Like, you're trying to get her on the date. I'm going to say it again. He gives me the creep vibe that I need to take you to a place where there's alcohol involved, get you liquored up, and rub up and fill up on you, put my body all up on you to let you see what I'm working with. And hopefully I can get you by the bedroom, because he don't have no second dates. Clearly, he says it himself. He's only good for the first date. He misconstrues going on first date as being an excellent first dater. No, an excellent first dater gets second dates. What are you talking about, bro? Like, I don't understand how you get that concept. Like, that doesn't even make sense. You lucked up on your 101 first dates and found you a Drew Barrymore out of Moomin. Or well, not, because she obviously don't remember the mixer and what happened. So you get it with her because she's forgot everything that happened at the mixer. You're on your first date with her, and you potentially drop the ball again. Luckily for you, she liked playing center, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Because she was all for it. She actually asked the brother back up on the tree with her. So I was just like, okay, I don't know what's going on. Clearly, it's a lack of relations going on in DC right now because everybody just got their legs wide open for anything moving. I have no idea what's happening. I was uncomfortable by watching it, but she wasn't. So like Seaway said, it made it a little less cringing to watch because she invited him back up there. But I was like, Jesus, are we serious right now? He's a cornball. He has no conversation. And that leads me to believe that he really has no depth. He doesn't want to go on dates. He doesn't want to sit down and really talk to anybody and have really real conversation, either because he's lacking something in his past, is not clicking. He got some insecurities going on, or he's just a little, I don't want to talk about his education, but he's a little undereducated in some areas. So he can't hold an intelligent conversation with anybody long enough for anything. So he wants to touch you up, fill you up. And we'll jump all the way to him to see it. Like, are you serious? You told her the dress had made him gave him the right to touch on her? Sir, no, her wearing that dress does not give you any right to touch on her. It gives you right to look at her, admire her, do all that, but to touch her, no, it does not. Then you ask if you could touch her some more, like your hand go down further. She told you she uncomfortable. I still don't know. Oh no, me and you is lost. I don't know how he keeps getting the next date. Somehow he managed to get a date out of to see on that one too. I don't know, but he making us real players out here look real bad right now, and I'm just kind of sick of it right now. Okay, I can't.
Hearing you loud and clear. Go for it, Saved and Sexy. You're free to go.
I don't know if there's anything left on the table for me to say. I think everybody kind of summed it up. I think, like, look, it becomes one of those things as, you know, what's inappropriate to one, maybe not to the other. I mean, from my eye, it looked a little awkward and weird. For whatever reason, she was entertaining the attention. So I'm not sure. And I'm not a woman, so I'm learning, you know, don't speak for women, but there seemed to be, you know, women seem to be going for the charm, whatever charm was there. I guess, you know, it worked for her, and it must be working for him in some capacity. And there's a lid for every pot. It looks cheesy and corny to me, but at the end of the day, hey, listen, somebody's biting. So I think he's the fisherman that fishes with a very wide net and just casts that net so super wide. And, you know, he knows that he might not get everything, but he's looking to catch the one or two that get caught up in the net. And if they stay around, then he's got his catch for the night. So that's the way, that's the approach that I see he uses.
Yeah, man, I'm hearing that. Good points on Corey, Sabrina, Mumin. I think obviously just watching Corey, man, Sabrina obviously could tell. I think someone said it on here. Sabrina's a mature woman, not just mature. I think understands herself and what she wants, and I think that easily weeded out Corey, because the conversation between Corey and Sabrina was actually a back and forth. It was him trying to prove he deserves a first date, right? And she was not on it. Right, she was trying to tell him, I just want to have a conversation, and he was trying to force it into a date, right? But she wasn't having it. But I think my major concern for Corey, okay, and I think Woman was seemingly, I want to say seemingly, Woman was okay with that movement by the tree. Let me just say this now, yeah? I think it's more about who Corey is and the way he does things that is a problem. Someone else could have done this and it would have been smooth and would have been all like, well, you know, that's the player's play guide. You know what I'm saying? He just put the smack down on old girl. You know what I'm saying? Would have been like, hey, it's what it is. But the way that he moves, it's got some creep to it, right? And let me give you a part. I don't think anyone has said it. On that date with Woman, he did something, yeah, that kind of like shook me, right? I know it's the F-boy move, but the way he moves is more creepy than F-boy. Do you know what I mean? So he said to her, what would you do if I kissed you now? would you go back and tell everybody? And she was like, yeah. And he was like, well, I guess I ain't kissing you now and then. I said, what the frick? So you first got her in the forest alone. You sat behind her. And now you're saying about a kiss, and that if she was to tell anybody, you wouldn't want to kiss her now. I said, if you don't get your narrow behind out of that place and running out of that forest like you are in Forrest Gump, sis, you're going to be in trouble, right? You're going to be in hardcore trouble, okay? Like I said, I personally would have seen things differently if he had a smoother esque about him. You know, he's an F-boy. We could all work with F-boys. We don't think they're the best, but we can understand an F-boy. But him and Troy weren't F-boys. That wasn't F-boy behavior. That, what we're seeing, is creepy boundary breaking, putting you in awkward positions, you know, and doing behavior that is hella suspect. Do you know what I'm saying? So, I hope he's watching this. I need you to check your behavior, right? Because it's the same thing that happened with Troy last season, and we questioned it and we said it about it that it's off, and now we're seeing the exact same thing, similar pattern of behavior from Troy. And like I said, it topped it off for me when he said, "Obviously, if I kiss you," and he said, "Obviously, if you tell somebody, no," and I said, "No." Nah. And in that case, if woman is willing to agree to that, I also have to question her, right? Because now I've got to look at you and say, baby, what's not ringing the alarm for you? Why are your alarm bells not singing a song and telling you to get the heck out of there, right? And that lets me think that something else has affected woman that's happened in your past that allows you to see the situation from a perspective of this potentially could work with somebody who's, I'll be honest with you, giving a bit of creeper vibes. Like cornball, that stuff, we can work with it. But this guy is doing some movements that even us men are telling you, listen, men are quite rubbish sometimes when we notice these things. We just be like, that's game. But if the men are saying we're seeing some dangers, you should know there's danger. There's danger. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's moving mad creepy. That's what I'm going to say. You know what I'm saying? So, woman, if you're out there, I hope, sis, you didn't give him any more chances because it's kind of dangerous. Okay, cool. Let's move the conversation on to another person. We got another conversation. Let's go to Aisha and Carrington's conversation. Aisha and Carrington, and I'm going to ask that question: did Carrington deserve to go? Okay, did Carrington deserve to go? There's a few questions I need to ask about Carrington, but I'm going to ask that first question. Did Carrington deserve to go? Did Carrington deserve to go? Who wants to go first for me? I have to choose again. You're not acting that way in primary school, bruv. All right, who hasn't gone first for me? All right. I mean, everyone's gone first. 99 to 2000. Go for it, brother.
It's coming to me. So, at first, when I first saw the episode, I didn't think he should have went home. When I reviewed my notes, I was just like, I don't know how he didn't go. I see why he went home. I kind of feel like, again, maturity was definitely low. But the key thing is, it was like, he's not ready to love. He's not ready to be in a relationship, but just based on the fact of what he's done in the past. Tyrone has done the homework to search for an actual meaningful relationship. Carrington has not. He's defined his life pretty much recently as situationships or non-committal relationships. And you can contrast that to Aisha. Aisha has put in major work to make herself available to date. Her having to explain to him what he's looking for and how he doesn't match up was the key. I was like, okay, that was the key defining moment of that scene right there, or even the entire episode. And we look at how he interacted with everybody else, the snippets I saw him, he was giving you the interview type questions and like, okay, why should I like you? Why should I invest my time into you? And I think it's part of it goes to his profession as an event planner, he's around way too many women. So he doesn't have to he has many shots that he can shoot. He doesn't have to work on becoming a better person and make himself more inclined to searching for a relationship. And that's the main issue that Keratin is running into. He doesn't know why he's here. If he wants to go on dates and meet people, that's fine. He does it every single day. He hasn't explained to me in the 2 hours why he's looking to be in a relationship. He just had a child, and he's not with the mother of the child. We don't know why. And it's just there's something that we're not seeing there. He hasn't been in the fact he hasn't searched for a long-term relationship, again, another flag. Again, you just don't know why. And when he has to explain himself to certain women, especially Sabrina, and with the whole age thing, he doesn't come across as somebody's actually mature enough to actually have a conversation and answer someone's questions. He's trying to prove his worth by him just being at the scene, at the table, which again, it doesn't help him out in the situation. So when he started adding all the facts to exactly why the women turned off him, I was like, you know what? I can see why he went home. It wasn't evident when I first watched it. When I looked back to my notes and actually like, okay, this is what actually was happening, just on the camera behind the scenes. I can see why the women were fed up and sent them home. So in retrospective, again, I see why. I get it. I don't know if I see that type of guy a lot in DC. How do we improve that person to make sure he's ready for dating? Not just for the show, but just ready for dating, period. Because again, there are several guys who go around that mindset. They just go out searching for dates, but they're not readily available. What do we do?
You know what? And just thinking about it, there's some things that he said that just made me question a lot of different things. In the case in point, like he's giving out these interview-based questions, but he had a problem with the young lady that was giving the interview questions as well. You want to vote her off, but you're doing the same thing. And the one thing that I don't want to say her name wrong, but Aisha, she pointed out that he knows how to work his way around answering a question, which is true. Because when he was given the different questions from the first episode to the second, it's like he couldn't answer anything. Everything was real surface level, going around the bush. And so that's why I said from the first episode from last week, like I couldn't put my finger on it, but it just didn't sit well with me. But then of course when he said like he's never been in a relationship, he's never had a girlfriend, several different things definitely came up with that. Now I do know some people, they have lived life and they've never had a boyfriend or girlfriend, and I understand their situations concerning that. But for you to be in the limelight and the things that you do, it just made me have even more questions concerning that. But Aisha, she read him. She read him like a book, pretty much. And he didn't want to receive that he was coming off the show, but you really didn't give anybody anything to go off of. And then, of course, when somebody mentioned that he went off on them on the phone, that's hearsay. But then we kind of see it later in the episode. So that says enough in itself. And what I'm getting from this show, not from everybody, but a majority, again, it's okay to have confidence in yourself, but when you walking in pride and arrogance, and I get it, we all want to be made special, feel special, to feel like we are the only thing since sliced bread, but not to this point where you just you think you, as old school say, all that in a bag of chips. Like come down a couple of notches, be humble, be personable, let people know who you are. But you coming in here, I hate to say it, but she said it like he acting like a politician in a sense. But that's kind of how it felt. Like I'm gonna do and say what I need to do and say to remain on the show, but People are not being authentic with themselves. And Aisha, she said it, like she did the work. She's been married for a long amount of time. When she was no longer married, she got the healing, the therapy that she needed. She's been preparing herself, make sure that her and her children are in the space that they need to be in so she can go forth and date again. And that's what it's about. She's not looking to play around and joke around. And then I think that's what it is. Like, so many people have been playing for so long, like playing this game, pimp and player like game for so long, that now you in this position like you really want to find somebody. But how can you really find somebody when all your life all you did was play around? People, like, your name already in the streets. People not gonna take you as serious when you come to that point in your life, like, oh, I'm ready to settle down. Because he said in the beginning of the episode, like, I want to see what life is like on the other side of the fence or whatever. Well, how? You never really prepared yourself for it. You was always in the limelight. You was always, out there doing whatever you doing, but you never really stopped what you was doing. Take time for yourself and really evaluate what you really want. And I understand people do change a new leaf. They come from that lifestyle and now they desire to date, to be married. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the way that he's been moving and the things that he's doing, and then how you speaking to the ladies, and then how you treating them. How do you expect to ever get married when you're not nice? Like, you're not speaking nice, you're not communicating nice, and then when she's trying to have a conversation with you at the table, you are already trying to be defensive and act like what she's saying is not important. She's trying to give you some type of information that will possibly help you in your endeavors, whether you was going to be on this show or not. But because you wasn't in a place to receive it, to be humble, to be mature, and to receive the constructive criticism, not criticism, but constructive, to help you, that already says enough in regards to you as a man, your level of maturity, and if you're actually ready to receive that relationship and that marriage that you say that you want. But you can't receive that if you're not being nice to women and you just treating them like it's whatever. You might have did that when you was out there in the club, but some of these women that's on this show, they ain't them women. They looking for real love. They got themselves together. They taking in the time to get to know themselves and whatever else they need to do. They don't have time to play like that. And I just think people are in this, I don't know, it's like programmed in a sense. Like, you've seen this stuff and you thought that it was okay and it's been working for so long, but that don't work with everybody you meet. So you got to adjust yourself and come correct when you introducing yourself and meeting people that you never met before. Everybody don't get down the way that you get down. So when you decide to come on this show or date or whatever, adjust yourself accordingly, govern yourself accordingly, and don't be out here having fits and attitudes and being nasty and mean, because word get around, and then how you show yourself to people, next thing you know, you by yourself, because they already heard how you treat other women. So I don't know, but what they got on this show with these attitudes and this pride, and I think I'm better than that, man, that stuff ain't working, and it's clear. So
Hearing you speaking to the masses, hearing you. Who's next? Who we got on the list? I've got on here.
Yeah, so I'm gonna start off with Aisha first. I know, because my initial thought of her was that she's spicy or whatnot, but then I got it. New York, some parts of New York is, they little roughneck, and I ain't mad at her. So, I got sis after a while, because even in this episode, we got to see her softer side when she started talking about her kids, and it broke her down. She went through the marriage, and she's done the healing process from getting out of that, because she did get married kind of young at 19. That is still kind of young, your formative years of turning into an adult. So, she got married early, got kids, got them to an age that she's able to date again. And that brings me to Carrington. You too young, brother, mentally. I'm not going to even worry about your age as far as the number goes, but mentally you're too young for a lot of these women on this cast. Like, you can't have a real conversation. And the sad part is the difference between you and Corey is Corey seems to lack like a little bit of intelligence, but you come with it. You have enough sense to know how to word things around to get out of certain situations and conversations, as far as when was the last time you cheated? Have you cheated before? And you're sitting here talking about, well, technically, I ain't never really been in a relationship to say that I cheated, and trust me, use that line before. I know how it works or whatever, but come on, brother, let's just be honest. Either you just say, I ain't never really had a real relationship. I've been in situationships, which you did say. You a cheater, because you don't want to be serious about nobody, or say you're a serial dater. Like, I don't be monogamous with nobody. Just be straight up with her instead of trying to word around it, then to the point that you're sweating on the job. Like, come on, brother, you got to be ready for this. You knew these women was going to ask you this. So that's why you were so mad at Ticia for asking you this question in the beginning, because she was already pulling your cards. She already seen it in you or whatnot. So now you mad at her, and then you going around doing the same thing. Carrie called you out for being an interviewer. You was mad at Ticia for doing the same thing, weren't you? You going around trying to question everybody about their situation, but as soon as they ask you a question, you got a problem with it. So that's already a problem. And I couldn't figure it out last week what it was, but this week it let me know. It's like you have some underlying issues that you are not resolved with, you have not come to terms with, and you don't want them exposed. One of them is you can't take corrective criticism at all. Like, you want to beat people to the punch. You want to get in front of the enemy, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Like, brother, she at the end, Camille is just trying to tell you, hey, this is how we kind of just help you go forward. And you want to basically tell her, nah, these women can't hold conversation. No, it's you. The women could hold conversation. They had no problem. They was trying to make conversation with you, but as soon as they ask one question, you want to shut it down and get an attitude behind it. So it's not the women that can't hold conversation. It is you, my brother. Like that you're the problem. All these women can't see you and just say that you're the problem, and you be like, nah, all you women is the problem. That's why you are sitting here in your Playboy status, going on dates with anybody that wants to come into the club, can't keep a real relationship or nothing like that. And I don't get it. Like, you was out of control. It was just like so many red flags on the plate for me with him. And the key word was he has never had a relationship by design. So you're confessing that you're just a all out non-monogamous type brother. Like you don't want to commit to anything. I'm gonna see this chick here for a couple of days, see this one for a couple of months, maybe this one a little bit longer. Brother, you're not looking for love. I don't know why you're on this show, because you're really not. You want to say that you're open and ready for love, but how could you be 30-something years old and you never had a real relationship? Not one. Come on, like that's crazy. I just can't fathom that. I can't fathom that. So you're basically either telling me you cheated in every single relationship that you have been in, or you're just that awkward of a nerd that nobody wants to talk to you. You're not that bad looking, so people try to talk to you. Don't try it. Like, I don't know who you're dealing with. Aisha might have liked a little bit of it because she liked the little edge that you posed, but other than that, yeah, this is why I don't even care. Bye.
I hear you loud and clear. All right. Wait, Sean, have you gone yet? I didn't get Sean to go. Not bad.
No, I haven't gone yet.
Go for it, bro. And see.
So, I think the thing that I see, and I see why, Carrington got eliminated, because he's not serious and he can't handle questions that are beyond a, basic place. And I like how Sabrina handled, him. And then, maybe it wasn't Sabrina, but definitely Aisha really set him straight during during the date that they had. And, she went in saying like, these are a couple of things that I already see as a red flag. And then, she proceeded to ask him some questions. She proceeded to have a conversation about, her background and the things that she's done to heal from her marriage, which I thought was super dope. I think like she was also flirty at the same time. And I know initially I really wasn't, attracted to her in the cast special, but her vibe is dope. I like the fact of the way she engages in conversation. That is very attractive to me. She can get and hit at different places. She was also flirty. Obviously, she has her body is on 10, and she knows it, and she knows how to rock it without being too much. So I got to give her props for that. But, I definitely love the way that she navigated the conversation with him. She again brought up the age topic because there was about a 5-year difference in age between them. And he didn't give a real answer. Oh, I've dated. You might have been one of the youngest ladies I've dated before. Okay, but does that really answer the question? Like, and you yourself have said you have been in situationships. So if you're looking for long term, are you really understanding who is in front of you, and is that the person you want to build a relationship with, right? Age isn't everything, but depending on what you want, you both need to be on the same page. Do you want kids? You want more kids? I think he has kids already, or maybe a child. Do you want more kids? What's your thought process on that? Where are you? Right? Because it just all still sounds to me like he still wants to continue doing what he's doing. He's just leveraging Ready to Love to do it in a different space and get better options. And I also love that now, as I remember, Sabrina did call him out for the age comment. And I like that. We know Sabrina is direct. So she's going to hit that question hard and going to follow back up with it. And he didn't have anything to say, and she sussed it out. And I love the way that she handles these guys in the situation, because you kind of got to be that way, whether it's Corey, just, slowing him down, like, hey, listen, get to know me. No, I'm not attracted to you. I don't know you. And then moving on to Carrington, she's like, I need to understand. We are 13 years apart in age. So are you really comfortable? Are you really looking for something serious? Do you know what I'm bringing to the table in the sense of this relationship and my experiences? And is that something you really want to build with? Or are you just out here trying to play? Like, don't waste my time. And I like her for that, because she's like, I'm not here for wasting time. And I really like that about her. We can reflect on people from previous seasons that just went along to get along, shinning and grinning, and just wasting time, wasting even the viewers' time, because the relationships weren't going anywhere because there's a disparity in age. And we got to be honest about that. And I love that it's the ladies leading that conversation and being honest about it, in terms of where they are in life and making sure they're matched with somebody who's on that same page. So I got to give it up for that. And Carrington wasn't doing nothing but playing, talking nonsense. Marketing CEO? No, you're a club promoter, bro. You're promoting clubs. Your name and face is on flyers, all right, that are all across the subway platform. Like, that's what you're doing. You're talking about want to be ready for White House dinners. Bro, really? Come on. You snapped a photo with Obama? Okay, cool. Okay. Did you Photoshop that, or is that real? Are you really moving in those spaces? Because your actions aren't telling us that. So that's my thought.
Who's next?
I'll go, Kojo. Yeah, all I have to say is Carrington, his sweat glands, his earring is not ready for love. He is ready to ruin your life. That is the time that he is on. And I know we spent a lot of time talking about Corey. People need to watch out for the Carringtons. And I'm really happy that the women on this show, because I can tell you the women on last season would have let Carrington play in a couple more episodes. I'm really glad that they sussed out that this man is ready to play and that he is only for the streets, that he's a club promoter, and that's all he wants to do. And that's probably the only reason why he is on this show. And I'm glad they sussed it out, because his response to Sabrina on the phone was disrespectful. His response and how he got eliminated was disrespectful. He literally clearly is not trying to be serious at all. He literally looks like the type of man that would be cheating on you down at the whorehouse. He's gonna be with prostitutes in the street, come home to you, and then still tell you that you ain't his girlfriend. Like, that literally is him. He's playing around, he's playing in his butt, and I'm glad he's off the show. And I'm pretty sure the producers just put him on here just to see if the women are gonna be stupid, because there's literally nothing redeeming about him whatsoever. So I'm glad he's gone, because he was not ready for love. And I'm glad we're able to move on. That's pretty much all I have. Beware of Carrington club promoters, dudes like him who ain't never been in a relationship in their entire 33 years of living. You've never been in a relationship. That means you don't want to be in a relationship, and you got a baby, a recent baby. I didn't even know he had a baby. He got a recent baby, but he ain't never been in a relationship. And some women will still try to date him thinking that they're going to be the one. You shouldn't even want to be his one. Let him go with that earring. No thanks.
Hood Bouger, you're next. Go for it.
So I thought I was going crazy over here because I usually take good notes. And I'm like, well, I thought he was a marketing firm CEO. So this episode had me confused. I'm like, how did he go from the marketing firm CEO to club promoter? But let's just go back to what Sean said about the White House. It's like he was trying to hype himself up, like the guy that tell you everything that he has. So I'm thinking, like, when I seen that, I put up my red flag when he was saying, I want a girl that can go to the White House. So the producers asked him, well, have you been? But they never, I don't know if they cut it, but we didn't get that information. So my thought process was like, dude, like, really? And I had to give Ida this. She said, did he go on a tour of the White House? Because why are you calling, like, you the man, like you just, like, sitting in the Oval with the president? No. So I counted him out. But ladies, I need to, like, really, like, we need to probe effectively, okay? Effectively probing. Because just because a man says he's never been in a relationship, you have to ask better questions. Because is there a woman out there that thinks she's in a relationship with you or thinks that she's been in a relationship with you? Because he's 33, and you've never been in a relationship. Somebody was in a relationship with Karen and he just didn't claim her. And I know guys that will live in a house, have a whole wife, and be like, I'm not in a relationship, because they have tried that game with me. Like, oh, that's not my girl. That's not my woman. But y'all live together and y'all got 3 kids together. So how? Okay, I'm confused. But we as women have to be strong like the Aisha and was like, I'm not about to play that game with you because you lying. Now, she did say he knew how to talk his way out of a brown paper bag, but he just met the wrong one. That's why he was sweating so hard, because he wasn't used to a woman coming back with different questions. So he was like, okay, this is not my element. And that's why he, started throwing them shots so they don't have conversation, because he was put in an uncomfortable situation. So again, Carrington, stay away from those Carringtons. And ladies, if you're watching and you've been around a Carrington, just learn how to effectively probe. Aisha, she just proves that you can't judge a book by its cover. So a lot of times people always want to say hood bougie or what is the other girl, Zadia? She said, I forgot what she said. The Atlanta term was what, ghetto
Clutch it.
What did she say?
Bougetto, or something like that, and clutch it.
Yeah, you can't judge a book by its cover because again, I may act one way when I talk to y'all one way, or anyone can do that. And then when they get into another environment, they, another way, or they're deeper. And Aisha, I respect her. Like with you, Sean, I had mad respect for that girl after that. I was like, wow, she did the work and she was able to, articulate what she was saying to Karen. Like, I'm not here for the games. And I applaud her because she's a mother and there's so many women that do not protect their children. So she was overall thinking at the big picture, like, okay, I have children at home. I can't bring a Carrington home. You're so irresponsible, but I give her credit. I like her. So hopefully you can get an interview with her. I like her, Kojo. A deep dive with her.
It would be good to have her on the show. She's surprising me. And I'm loving that. I ain't gonna lie to you. Corey Black, what are you saying?
I'm gonna go ahead and say this. Okay. I think Carrington is the perfect picture for narcissism. This is narcissistic 101 when it comes to him. He's okay with drilling, asking questions to get to know you better, to see how your value comes up to his needs. But when the tables are turned, he has a huge problem with hearing what other people have to say. So he has a hard problem with answering those questions himself. So to me, I think he has a huge problem. And the thing about him, he's very confident in his profession. He knows that the nightlife is going to provide all the women that he needs. He doesn't have to be serious about these women. He doesn't have to be in a relationship with these women. These are situationships, and he's perfectly fine with that because each night is a different woman. Now, honestly, ladies, that is most men. Well, I won't say most. There are some men's dream to be able to have a different woman every night. Let's not fake this. Let's be real with you guys. All right. So he's in the perfect place in his life right now. He has no desire to be in a relationship. This is definitely about his career. He got on this show for his career. The way he's talking to Sabrina, the way he's talking to these women, it shows that he has not a care in the world what they think about him. Why? Because he's going to be the new woman tonight. They don't know anything about him. He can be whatever he needs to be. He can be a smooth talker if he needs to be a smooth talker. And you got to understand this. I'm saying this because I want women to have a better understanding of being able to identify these signs early on. If you're into a guy and you're asking a man questions about himself, and he's asking you questions about yourself, but he's willing to hear what you have to say to show yourself, but he's not willing to show himself, that in fact is a red flag. Okay. A man who likes you, he's going to be mutually interested. He's going to ask you questions about you as well. He's going to be into you. So if it's only one way, then that's a red flag. So I just wanted to say that little piece right there. That's all.
Loving that, Corey. Yeah, man. Good points, man. Carrington, man, he's an interesting character, isn't he, Carrington? To be honest, like I said, I think the most important thing for me was just a conversation with him and Aisha. The lack of ability to answer a simple question often dictates that there's something mad going on behind the scenes. And that, for me alone, is all we need to say. But your badness, if you can't answer a simple question, it's crazy out here. And on a second note, Corey, the ladies can't concentrate on what you're actually saying because they're concentrating on your voice and tone. So I'm going to need you to change the bass in your tone so that they actually let the content going because right now they're lost in the hot chocolate of your voice. Just saying. All right. So let's move it to the next. Let's move it to the next one. Listen, ladies, I'm not even mad at you. Listen, that's actually what even drew me in with Corey the first. I said, this guy's voice is deep. My headphones are spitting my ear. I said, damn. So I get it, man. Let's talk about another situation. We've got the last two situations we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the Shiloh, the Naeem, Tasia, and Dante conversation. Yeah, this is a second to last topic before we go. Yeah, so I want to get you guys' thoughts on the intimacy coach's claims that whoever gets with her, their intimacy that was rising up. She made some bold claims. What was the kind of viewpoints on that awesome foursome conversation that turned into from sensual to sexual conversation? What was our thoughts on the awesome foursome conversation? Who's willing to go first for us? Okay, I'll just start randomly choosing, shall I? Yeah. All right, Sean, please lead us in the pathway of this conversation. So Naeem, Zadia, Dante, Shiloh, Tasia. That's 5 of them actually. Give us your kind of perspective on that scene there.
I kind of just, because it was so many of them and it didn't really, I think, I don't have a whole lot in terms of their conversation and how that went. So yeah, I'll let somebody else pick up where I'm lacking in that area.
That's cool. Did you hear the conversation around the intimacy then? where they were talking about intimacy?
No, I missed that.
No worries. I know what you mean though, bro. It was a lot of them in the conversation, so it was kind of a lot of information coming all at once. It's hard to take in sometimes what they're actually saying. I'm with you, bro. I'm with you. Don't worry. I'm with you. Okay. Speaking to the masses, talk to me. What's your thoughts?
Well, for starters, let me just go by saying that conversation at that table to me was just inappropriate. Those conversations don't need to be had on a second date or first date, first 2 episodes. That stuff that's later down the line. But even some of the things that they were saying, it's just too vocal, too much. Like, there's no ounce of privacy, not secrecy. That's different, but privacy. I can give it with Tasia what she said, like, I don't kiss and tell. What I do with somebody else is what I do with somebody else. I respect that, because let me be honest, I really don't want to hear about nobody else's sex life. I just don't. I don't want to have the image of it. I don't want to have a thought of it. I want to see you in a good and clean light. If we friends or we just associates, I want to keep it there, keep those boundaries there, because I really don't want to know what's going on in your bedroom and who you doing it with, what at whatever time of day. But it's just a simple fact that look where we've gotten ourselves, right? Dating has went from just having basic conversations, getting to know one another, to we just go straight to the sex conversation for real. And like with the whole intimacy versus sex, those are actually 2 different things. And the guy, he missed that because he's associated that with sex. But see, that's the issue in itself, because unfortunately most guys, that's what they do. Women are now doing it too, but the men associate intimacy with sex, and it's not. She was talking about the 5 senses. It's a lot you can do with that, but he didn't get that. It went way over his head. But that should just let you know, like, what people are learning, what people are doing in their relationships, and then the conversations they're having on these dates. If this is what, you know what I'm saying, dating has come to, you can count me out. You can count me all the way out, because I'm not sharing no information with people I just met. I don't even know you like that. I'm not having them type of conversations with you. And then in the simple fact that that stuff really should be reserved for a marriage. Everybody may not agree to that, but it's reserved for the marriage bed, period. All this extra stuff that people are doing, this is why people can't find out how they can get in a relationship, the court, the date, the marriage, and whatever the case may be. Because why? Folks is doing all this stuff prematurely. You're doing it with whoever you want to do it with. You're just being fluid with it. There's no control. There's no responsibility, accountability. It's just out here. You're just out here with it. And you call it okay. I would have been so uncomfortable being at that table. And I mean, y'all just talking about sex. You don't know nothing else about this person on a deeper level. Like, it's beyond just having sex. Anybody can do that and get in a bed and do that with somebody. But you want to be able to connect with a person mentally, connect with a person spiritually, connect with a person in ways you never thought you could connect with a person. But that just shows a lot of people today so shallow and programmed, and just think that intimacy is sex. No, it's not. It's not. It's 2 different things. But because so many people have been taught wrong, or learning whatever they learning and bringing this stuff to the table and calling it okay. I was honestly shocked that this stuff was being said on national TV. I'm like, oh, there's no censorship at all. I just remember it's a point in time, like, certain stuff you just couldn't even say on the TV. Like, you couldn't say it. Like, mom and daddy now weren't even gonna have it with you if you got on the TV and said it. Like, nah. But that conversation that they had, shallow in this case, she was deep. on the deep end, and they were still on surface level with their conversations, and they totally missed what she was saying. They totally missed it. They didn't even catch it. But I just think that that's a lesson in itself. Like, if you're having those type of conversations day one, I would honestly be leery of a person, because you know, you don't know what they coming with. Some people got ideas from watching porno. People got ideas from doing stuff they ain't got no business doing, and they bringing this stuff to the table like that's good dating. No, that is not. It sounds like you looking for a booty call or whatever it is that you looking for, and that stuff ain't cool. But this is what is being presented out here in the real world. So it's a shame that this is what we come to.
Appreciate that, Doc. Appreciate that, Doc. Thank you. All right. From the 99s to the 2000s, and then we'll get Hood Bouger after.
I mean, I don't really have much to say. I really like Shiloh as a person. I just don't. I think though, a group conversation about sex is definitely not. It definitely wasn't a good look. If this was later down the season after she made a connection with one of these people, she want to have the conversation. I get that, but just the way that she did it right there, it definitely was a turnoff. Like, I can see how people are uneasy. I will be uneasy in that environment. I'm with Tesha, kissing. I kiss, don't tell. Everyone does need to know your business like that. I don't know what the point is of saying that stuff unless you're trying to sleep with one of these guys at the end of the night. I don't get it.
Hey, thank you very much. 99s to 2000s. Hood Bouger, what's your thoughts, man? Sounds like After Dark's around there.
I'm scared to go out the house because I'm just trying to really wrap my mind around it. So either they're like this in real life, or they come to Ready to Love to get a hookup, because to me they act like horny teenagers. I like Winter. I follow her on IG, but you remember she got that hall pass. So I think they just be coming there hooking up, and what's the other girl from last season that had the relations with them? I think they just be bored and they just be like hooking up. Like, okay, so they were trying to see, I guess, feel the vibe. Like, who can you have conversations with certain people, and if they're like willing to go ahead and indulge in it, then you're like, okay, so I can talk some more to you. Like I always tell y'all, I don't be talking on the phone after 10 o'clock because those booty call hours. So once you open the door, then he knows that he can have those conversations with you. And Tasia was right for saying, no, I'm not about to have this conversation with y'all. So I just think that they come there ready to hook up. Even the women, it's just kind of scary, because behind the scenes, I heard it was like a lot of hookups that people just didn't want to talk about. So it's probably gonna be hookups this season. Corey probably getting some too.
I hear you on that. Thank you, Boucher. I hear you on that. Hey, listen. Seaway.
Yeah, I agree with everything that has already been said. I don't have a conflicting opinion over here. When I watched it, all I can think about is how inappropriate it felt for me to watch it. And I couldn't imagine just sitting there again with the oversharing. I feel like this must be like Ready to overshare this season. I don't know what's going on, but I'm not sure why they felt like that was first date conversation. And if I was a man, I would not take you seriously. I would feel like you don't want to be taken seriously, whatever. And as far as like Shiloh talking about, she was ready to take them to the next level of intimacy. To me, the first thing I said was promo plug. Like I feel like she was just low key like plugging her business. To me, that's how I took it. I know a lot of people took it like she was trying to act like she was like it was a sexual thing. With her, I feel like she was just low key plugging her business, which again is another thing ready for promo on this season. I feel like that's all that was. She's an intimacy coach. Of course, she's going to say on national TV she wants to take a man to the next level of intimacy because she's plugging her business. That's how I took that. But if I was Tazia, I'm not good with these names yet. I was sitting there next to someone, I would feel like I was in the Twilight Zone. Like, what are y'all talking about? Like, at least last season, whatever dirt they were doing behind the back was behind the back where it needed to be. Not on first episode, second episode, down to the group date. Like, just inappropriate and not the classy boots style that we had these previous seasons. I feel like it's getting a little raunchy, and they need to bring it back to the classy level that we used to have. If they want to talk about that stuff later on down the line, that's fine, because that is important in a relationship, but it just didn't feel appropriate. And I'm not here for it. I don't know what level, what path we're going down, but it seems like we're going down a weird path here with the stuff that we're discussing. It's giving like too hot to handle, not ready for love. I didn't like it.
I hear you still. Reformed player from the Himalaya.
Man, I'm like on up on this part right here. I just feel like we were just missing so much. I don't even know how the conversation got to the point that it got to. How we, I mean, I got where she had mentioned the intimacy and how you say his name, Naheem, took it to a whole nother level of what it was. But the rest, how we get to the part of where did we have sexual relations with people and all this stuff, like how did we even get there? Where's the rest of the conversation in between that? It just jumped and cut to there and stuff, and it was just like so much. So it was weird to me, because this is a kind of conversation that you have with friends that you've been knowing for a long time. You know, you guys have those game nights and you have those card games that you play, and it comes out in this kind of manner. But just to be sitting around with a group of strangers asking, well, where's the last time you had it and where you had it at and all this stuff, that is just like so weird. And how do we get to know each other from this? I'm only knowing your sex life. That's the only thing I'm knowing. I don't know nothing real about you. I thought the point of the dates was to actually learn about you and stuff. And so it had me all the way confused. I got where Tasia was just like, yeah, I'm checked out at this point. Somehow Dante and Shiloh made a connection according to her. And I was just like, weird. I don't know. Naeem was trying to make his connection by touching on Shiloh when she said she like her love language was intimate touch. Touch and stuff. So I was just like, you guys are just hot and ready. Like, just hit the ding button on the oven, because y'all just need to be cut and serve at this point, because everybody just wants to give everybody some. I don't know why y'all on this show. Y'all not looking for love. Y'all looking for lust. Y'all looking for some spread them wide and drop it low type stuff. And that's about it at this point. I have no idea what's going on with these conversations. How did we get here?
Yes, appreciate your phone player from the Himalayas. I don't want to say too much, on this subject, because I'm not the best candidate to talk about the subject here. Listen, I'll be honest with you guys. I didn't see a problem with it, and I don't really care. I'll be honest with you. I personally wouldn't care. I'll be honest with you now, this wouldn't bother me. It wouldn't bother me. I'll be honest with you. I know it sounds kind of mad, but it just wouldn't bother me, right? And it's probably just the way I look at conversations around sex. If we're having a grown-up conversation about this situation, I see it as a grown-up conversation. Now, would I be doing it on live television? Might be slightly different, right? To put myself in that situation. But knowing me, I didn't go hoots. I said, they were talking about sensuality. It ended up going on to sex. Sex is a part of relationships. These are not people that are saved. They're not people that are Christians. These are normal people who have relationships, who have sex in relationships. I didn't see a problem, right? I think sometimes sex becomes a really taboo subject when people are doing it. And people are having it. And maybe because I'm so used to being at work, and obviously I don't work now, I'm in the office. In the office, these conversations come up all the time. People will be saying, this is what happened, this is what happened, this happened, and people share their stories. right? Now, so long as it's obviously not done in a way that I think is potentially sleazy or anything, people are just sharing. If they're genuinely just sharing their thing, now, I mean, it was touch and go at points in time of that conversation, but I think the conversation got edited, so it didn't seem like a natural flow. Because Zaja just came up with a question and said, "So where's the like raunchiest place you like had sex, whatever?" Right? She brought up the question, and then it turned into a conversation around that aspect. But I think it's because they were talking about sensuality, dealing with the five senses, talking about intimacy. It naturally drifted onto that sex conversation. So maybe it's not a conversation maybe it's not a conversation for TV, and it looks worse because it's on TV. But these conversations, I think, happen all the time. I'm not saying anything. I'll keep my lips stilled, but these conversations happen all the time. They happen all the time. But my lips are sealed. I'm not say nothing. After dark, baby. All right, cool. Last thing. I'm so sorry. I just, you know what I mean? I'm sorry. All right, cool.
Hey, can I get in on that real quick?
Yes, you can, bro.
Yeah, okay.
Go on.
All right, so what I want to say about Shiloh is this. Okay, so Shiloh to me is in a very unique position because she's talking about her profession, but she's also playing the game. So she's killing everything with one stone. She's promoting her business. Then at the same time, she is talking about sex, which is going to get the men to look at her, have that mental picture of her in these moments. So she's playing the game. So I definitely understand that. To me, I feel like she just needs to, she got to understand that when it comes to men, we understand single versus being in a relationship, but it's how you carry yourself as a woman at the same time. So we can see that's your profession, but at the same time, we don't want a woman who's so free to talk about these things because it comes off as her being easy possibly, or being just out there in these streets like that. You know what I'm saying? So you want to make sure that you do this in a way that it's not going to necessarily negatively affect your profession, but in a way at the same that say you have a little class about you, you know, that you can conduct yourself in a way where you don't have to talk about work all the time or intimacy all the time. But I'm really looking forward to seeing what else she has to say besides something sexual. And what got my head shaking a little bit was the fact she came up and she said earlier in the episode, she mentioned something about she can twerk. Why are you talking about twerking, you know, this soon? You know, so to me, it just seemed like it is a little bit heavily sex-based, but I think a piece of that is her playing a game. And what's going to tell that is how she, how much we get to learn about her later on in the season as the episodes go on. If we learn that all she wants to talk about is sex, then that's all it is to her. She's in the right business because that's all she wants to talk about. But she has to show a different layer to her besides just the sex before I'm sold on Shiloh.
I'm with you on that, bro. I'm hearing you on that. It's a good point, though. She did say about the twerking thing still with Dante. So I think they're trying to position her and trying to show us that, you know, she does be talking about certain stuff, sexual, you know, unsensual. She likes that kind of conversation. Hey, like I said, I don't think she's for everybody, to be honest. But yeah, let me say less. All right, cool. Let's go to the last conversation today. It's about sex again. It's also concerning around Courtney. It was concerning Cornelius. It was concerning also Walter and Camille. It was this time the real awesome foursome conversation where there was some game playing being done. You understand? There was some game playing being done on Kamile'S side. She set this conversation up so that she could have keep some tabs on a brother. Listen, let me just say this now. That's crazy. I'm sorry. Let me not even use the word crazy. Stalkerish. Okay. That's that. You're setting up early doors for stalking a brother. I'm concerned for his safety. Who's got their mic open? Go for it. See where you got your mic open. Go for it.
I'm interested to see what everyone else says on this, but I think Camille was trying to play the game of who's the most saved and then lost. And it was like really, really weird. I hate when people like weaponize like who is the most saved. And then you're battling, well, no, I'm a pastor's kid. Well, and I think the problem is that Camille didn't, and I kind of judge Courtney too, to be honest. Camille didn't think that Courtney was going to be a saved spiritual person. So she tried to set it up like, yeah, like, you know, who here is religious or whatever. And then it backfired when Courtney was like, oh, I pray for my man. I'm going to get to Courtney in a second. But it backfired when she was like, I pray for my man, okay? And then now Camille's sitting there looking stupid. And that's what she get for trying to play games with the Lord, because that's all she was doing, trying to play games with the Lord, trying to use the Lord to trap Cornelius. That's his name, right? Cornelius. And yeah, and then it didn't work. It didn't work because then Cornelius is over here looking at Courtney when she's like, I pray for my man. Now he want her. So, and then Camille's like, possession over Cornelius is scary. Camille's a problem. She's been a problem. She's gonna be a problem. She's definitely on that like that's my boyfriend after day one type situation. That's scary. Cornelius should run because it's gonna be a major problem. But on to Courtney. I don't understand how Courtney talk about she prayed for her man, but he better have sex with her before marriage. I'm just confused at the contradiction. Like, you're praying for your man, but he better do what you say, not what God says, or not. Courtney's also a problem for a completely different reason. But I just don't understand how you're praying for your man every day, but you're not praying for what he wants out of his life and his walk with God. But Cornelius looked very interested in Courtney despite that. So I don't know where that's gonna go because she's cute, but I don't see that being enough. So I just didn't like. They also were talking a lot about sex and sexuality pretty early. I know Cornelius wants to wait. And so I don't know how that's going to work out. But yeah. Flags on the play for Camille. Flags on the play for Courtney. Because a lot of people say I be caping for the women on this channel. Now y'all can mark it down. I said 2 flags for women on the play. These 2 are going to be trouble for different reasons. And I hope Cornelius has the discernment about not just going for whoever is cute. And I hope he stays away from stalkers because that's Camille. So.
Go for it, Sean. Thank you, Siwe.
You're muted.
Oh, Sean, I think you're muted, bro.
My bad. I said, Seaway, I want you to keep that same energy for the ladies' maths next week and give them that same kind of smoke and delivery. Very clear and concise. Don't be talking about he said, she said, gaslighting, none of that. Same energy. But all jokes aside, 100%. Like Camille, man, and again, she's such a pretty girl, right? And it just screams insecurity when you're entering into this kind of environment and you feel like you got to lay claim to a guy in that way. And, you know, for any woman that thinks that that's cute, that thinks that that's attractive, it's not. It might get you a short-term benefit, but long-term, you want long-term relationships. Clawing at a man like that, telling a man that he's, you know, your husband very early on. Yeah, that's not the move. That's not the move. So I'm not sure what she's looking to do by staking her claim so quickly in him. And it also, you're ruining your chances because you're in a dating environment with multiple people, and you invited this other guy, Walter, out onto a group date to simply spy and see how the other guy that you're interested in moves. And then the other guy that you were with, Walter, saw it. So I'm glad he peeped what was happening. And he was like, all right, as soon as he really, saw things heat up, he's like, I'm out. So you can sit here and play third wheel to Courtney and Cornelius, because I'm not going to be here while you hit on another man in front of me on a date. So got to have respect for Walter for canceling himself out. When it comes to Courtney, we already know she's a problem. You know, she is the problem that knows she's a problem. And I'm just not sure how she slipped in. She's a Christian to now pushing and forcing sex before marriage when the guy is telling you that's not where he is. And she going to pray for him. And then in the behind the stages clips saying, oh, I'm going to pray that he sleeps with me. Come on. You know, like that type of woman is just going to be the downfall of us if you're trying to be on that path of straight and narrow. And clearly she's a problem. She's beautiful. You know, she owns her sexuality. So she can very easily take him down. But again, I just don't think it's going to get her if she's really looking for a long-term relationship. That's not going to be a long-term relationship because you lead in with sex and already putting it out there. You're setting it up like you like to hunt men. You like to approach men. That's going to get you a very short-term gain. And you may think, oh, yeah, the guy's into me. You know, we doing X, Y, and Z. Yeah, it's a short-term play. And unfortunately, if you're in a situation and looking for long-term relationship success and you playing with the short-term handbook, you setting yourself up for failure because all you're going to get is a one and done, or you'll get another situationship or playing. So that's what I think about, you know, that whole setup.
I'm hearing you. Hood Boucher, go for it.
So, women a lot of times go to church and think they're gonna find a man. Everybody that go to church is not saved and ain't, you know, saved and sanctified. So, you know, I heard Joyce Meyer say years ago, just because the car is in the, you know, whatever that saying go about, just because it's in the garage, whatever. I ain't gonna try to go there. But just basically, anybody that say they saved is not saved. Just go there. So I'm just gonna tell y'all that. Everybody that tell you they religious, they whatever, you got to ask deeper questions. So I wasn't impressed by them saying that they were saved. Or they was preacher kids or whatever. Because it's like, what churches you go to? What relationship do you have? So again, that was just something that Camille probably said because again, you into fornication and with the whole sex thing. Like I said, they all there to hook up because Cornelius, you talking about some a slip up. That's how you get slip ups. Because why is you letting her touch you by your man parts? Listen here. I practice abstinence, but that's why you don't let certain stuff be like, that smell good and that stuff, whatever. I don't need you to be all up on me. So he was already dancing with the devil. Because you sitting there letting that lady touch your thigh, the upper thigh. Okay? She was all up in there. I promise you, she touched it and sized it up. The camera just didn't show us. But yeah, I just think that people say a lot of stuff, and I don't know if they just think that sounds good on TV. Because remember last season and the season before that, people always want to be like, "Well, I believe in the Lord. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that." Well, y'all need to stop listening to people and ask for the spirit of discernment. So maybe the show is telling them, because you see they keep talking about love languages, and maybe they're having them talk about sex. I don't know. I'm just kind of confused. But Camille, just because she's a PK doesn't mean she have a relationship. What's her name? Courtney just want to get it. Like I said, somebody gonna get it this season with Courtney because Courtney is hot. Like she ready to get it. And don't be surprised if Cornelius have a slip up on the season and he repent to Jesus on Sunday.
I'm hearing you. Sunday come quick. Sunday come quick. All right. Yes, Corey, go for it.
All right. So here's the thing for Camille. I think it's her name. Camille, to me, just oozes with immaturity. In the beginning, she even said that her class thinks she's immature. And it shows at this point right here. She brought two men together because she orchestrated this date. So she brought two men together that she was attracted to, and she just gravitated towards one. Very rude of her to do that. Now, she's really missing out because Walter is that guy. Walter is not a man with swagger. Walter is a man with demeanor. Boys have swagger, men have demeanor. Walter shows demeanor. He is going to be a problem in this show because he's so easy to get along with. He's so easy to talk to. Multiple women are going to be on Walter. So he's going to have a problem. Now, Camille probably don't see that right now. But as soon as those women start swooning to Walter, she's going to have a problem with it then. So Cornelius was getting a lot of attention from Courtney, and there was a problem for her. And they had a conversation about being a PK, and nothing is wrong with that. But what I had a problem with is that it seemed as if Camille was saying that was the right way. That was the right way to do it. That's the only way she can see it, or that, you know, that's what everyone else should do, is practice the abstinence before marriage. And that's fine. Nothing is wrong with that. But I have a problem with pushing your beliefs on someone else. If it's just like if someone was celibate and I'm pushing my beliefs that I think you should have sex. That's not right. That's not fair. So I think that's wrong to do that. So the whole thing back and forth with Courtney putting her hand on Cornelius' thigh. The thing about that, Cornelius is not going to push her away because he's attracted to her. Again, this is all about attraction. If you're attracted to someone, you allow them to get away with almost anything. So he's going to let her put her hand on this thigh, rub it, smack it, flip it, whatever she want to do with it. He's going to be okay with it because he's attracted to her. Now, obviously, it seems to me that he's more attracted to Courtney than he is Camille, because when they went back and forth about she can't put her hand on his leg, he said, yes, she can. She said, no, she can't. He said, yes, she can. That is a strong indication, ma'am, you're in second place right now. You're definitely not in first. So I need you to get yourself together. So she messed it up with Cornelius as well as with Walter, because Walter saw that. He said, you know what? I got to get to work. I got some work I got to finish up. Any excuse to get away from her. That's a mental note for him. So that's one down from her when it comes to Walter, because he's not going to be interested in her anymore. At least he shouldn't. So I think the whole interaction was all about Camille trying to come off as being someone who is better than Courtney, instead of her showing her value as a woman. Another thing that was really off to me is how she's so willing to claim Cornelius for herself right now. She's so quick to claim him as a boyfriend or as something more than that, when she's been in multiple engagements and none of them went through. So that's something that's weird about that to me. Like, she went through all these engagements. She said she's been proposed to a lot of times, but never went through with it. So is she the type of person who's just want a quick thrill and then she gets bored easily? It's a lot to say about her. So I guess the more we see her, the more we'll learn. But her behavior right now is just bizarre to me. It's very immature.
I hear that. Okay. I hear that. Speaking to the masses.
All right, y'all. Now, granted, most people on this show is in the world. However, when you say that you can't hear me? Okay. When you say that you are in the kingdom of God and you are a Christian, this is a different conversation. I hope people paid attention to this entire scene, because the answers were very, very different. When Cornelius said who he follows, he said God, Jesus, and the Holy Ghost. He named all three. Some other people said, oh, well, my daddy is a pastor, or my granddaddy is a pastor. And then somebody else at the table said, oh, I'm spiritual. That's 4 different answers. Now, if you are in the kingdom of heaven, God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit are truth. Those from the South or old school background say Holy Ghost. Then you're going to really be vetting the people. When you say God, are you talking about lowercase g or big G? I go even deeper for you. Are you talking about Yahweh, Elohim, Adonai, Ancient of Days? Which God do you serve? You serve Baal, Astra, Athena, Minerva, Apollo. We can go there. Jezebel, Leviathan. We can go there. But what you're not finna do is say, oh, because my pastor, that don't got nothing to do with your relationship with God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit of truth. You know religion. You don't know relationship. Period. So when you try to throw that card out there to woo somebody in who has told you his stance, I have an issue with that. Because why? He's been very clear, right? Who he stands for. But he also said that he's getting back into it. He's submitting himself to Christ. So he's been away from it. He's been in the backslidden state. So he's getting back into it. What he doesn't need is temptation. What he needs is respect for his faith. I have an issue with the fact that if he was Muslim, oh, you respect it. If he was Buddhist, oh, you respect it. But the fact that he said God, Jesus, and Holy Spirit, oh, it's a joke. I can just disrespect this man and his faith. If I was Cornelius, I would be paying attention to the woman that respect him, his faith, and his standards. Now, granted, him entertaining that hand on the thigh, that's where his maturity and his journey with Christ really comes in at. Because that hand on the thigh, even though he said he was okay with it, in truth, that will open a real door to temptation that I hope you're ready for. Because it can. She's been very clear. Courtney was very, very clear in regards to what she wants, what she's looking for. She said that she's a lion because she's a Leo. Lions, by nature, will be in the grass for a little bit. But once they figure out their target, they pounce on it and go ahead and secure that. So if he's talking about, oh, it's okay, then I hope he's okay with what's going to come with that. But you can't be talking about, oh, God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit, but you not listening to what the Holy Spirit might be telling you. You don't got no conviction about it. Nothing. And see, we take this stuff light because, oh, no. You know them by their fruit. Once they started disrespecting you and your standards and all this other stuff, playing these games, it's clear that Camille played that game. We caught it. That wasn't even hard to see. But it's just the simple fact that Courtney wanted what she wanted, even though he said it was okay. It's a simple fact that it really shouldn't have been okay. It really shouldn't have been. And I don't know if people paid attention to what Walter was saying. Because he said back in the day, he was playing games and he was out there in the streets. But based off that conversation, is you still out there? Because he already said to quit. Oh no, I ain't gonna say no to no sex. Oh no. Well, have you ever stopped? So from last episode to this episode, I recant my decision. That top three, I don't got no top three. They all off. Just because you nice looking and you got a beard and all this other stuff don't mean nothing. It's nice and it's good to be attracted to these people, but listen to what they saying and look at what they doing. That stuff don't even add up. People giving creepy vibes, people playing games, pimping them, playing all over the place. This show is no longer ready to love. You don't know the first thing about love whatsoever. You're looking for lust, which is easy to find. But this what they talking about. If I was as a man and I had standards and I told you what I'm looking for and what I'm not willing to do, why test him like that? That's a level of disrespect. I know men for real that are abstinent and not celibate. We can go ahead and clear that up. There's a real difference between celibacy and abstinence. So if you've been saying that you're celibate, that means you not only don't want to have sex, but you don't plan on ever getting married either. Abstinence, sexual abstinence means you don't want to have sex until you're married, but you do desire to be married. So people that out here talking about, oh, I'm celibate, you don't plan on getting married either. So you just spoke a whole promise right there, which you probably have to go repent and renounce for if you actually desire to get married. But this is what goes on when you think, oh, you say because you was raised up in a church and you know God, you know his principles and his ways. No, you don't, because you ain't spent no time with Jesus. You ain't listening to nothing that he had to say. Are you filled with the Holy Spirit of truth? Do you listen to what the Holy Spirit has to say to you, the convictions that he give you? No, because you're leading with your flesh. That's the issue. And everybody on this show leading with their flesh. But they talking about they Christians. I feel some type of way about it. Because why? You wouldn't do that if it was Muslim or Buddhist. Them Muslims and them Buddhists will check you quick. Not gonna have it. You is not finna be proclaiming their faith, and you ain't doing none of their practices. So how we feel like that junk okay to do that as I'm a Christian because I go to somebody's church. Okay, the devil go to church too, and he's still Jezebel be right there in that church too with Ahab. What that mean? Come on. Either you about that life or you not. Either you submitted to Christ or you not. Everybody got their different journey, and I get that. But we're not finna be on national TV and playing around like that. Just not. Jesus already said you can mock his name, it'll be forgiven. But when you do it to the Holy Spirit, it will not be forgiven. Go check your word. So when you out here talking blasphemy against the Holy Spirit, all right, that's smoke you asking for. But that right there, that show said enough for me in that spot. All them playing around and being children, y'all 35, 40, 45, 50 years old, and you expect the next generation to follow after this? All right.
A sermon indeed. A sermon indeed. There's goats and there's sheep, my friends. There are goats and there are sheep. Yes, for the 99s to the 2000s. See, you got something you want to say, babe?
I'm not sure I can go after this, but I think my issue with this scene is, like, I have issues with all three of the four characters. I'm gonna start with Camille. My issue with her is, like, stupid games get stupid prizes. Like, I don't understand why you're organizing a double date with the guy you like and the girl who likes him the most, and a guy that you're not interested as much as the guy that you like. And you're trying to make it you're trying to talk about religion during the date, and it's like everyone's talking, but no one's listening. And that's the key thing. It didn't, even if you think Camille had the correct answers to attract a guy like Cornelius, that boy was not listening. His attention was with another woman, which you were seeing face to face. He was pretty much disrespecting you on a date with another woman, or allowing another woman to disrespect you in front of his face. I don't get that. Like, again, like, let's keep it. I'm in like some advanced mathematics class. I'm trying to see how 2 + 3, 3x minus. I'm trying to figure all this thing out. I want to keep it simple. Like, I don't get the situation. Even though she said the right things, it really didn't matter. Now, when you go to Cornelius, my issue with him is, are we getting the resume or the representative? Like, we know what his spiel is. He's from the South. He has good Christian values. He's a good, hardworking man. He does that. He wants to follow or be led by Christ. He actually said what you wanted to hear. The problem is the boy ain't practicing what he's preaching. And in that situation, you would want him to stand up for his religious practice and turn down Courtney. Too many C's here, but he just encouraged this to happen. So my question is, like, again, which person are you? Are you the resume that we see, or is this the representative who you are? A lot of people say they're Christians, but they don't practice being a Christian on the day to day. Again, that is fine. The issue we have here is in his resume, it says he's practicing on being a Christian. And what we're seeing is not someone who's doing that. And I guess that's the main fault that we're going to see in him. If anything, he's encouraging the bad behavior of Courtney to now influence his decisions. That part, I don't know. Again, I don't know where it's going to lead. But again, hey, that's your prerogative. Hey, do you. The issue with Courtney is, here's the thing. A lot of people say they're role models, but just plain roles for us to see. And that's what I'm getting with Courtney. She says she's a preacher's kid. Preacher's kid to me is like, you've been taught better. So I don't know about the rest of the world, but you've been taught better. So I don't expect you to make the same mistakes as what I see out there. I don't know. If I brought home a bad grade, if I brought home a B, my dad would be like, why did you bring home a B? Like, I spent time with you going over to work to make sure you get an A. So why didn't you get the A? I know a passing mark might be a 70, but that's not what's expected because you know better. You were taught better, so I expect you to do better. That's not what you're getting. That's not what you're getting from Courtney. So my question is like, if this was the acceptable behavior in the church, what must it make acceptable behavior now? So again, which one is it going to be? Because that's someone who's not practicing Christianity. That's someone that's practicing being led by the flesh. And if that's the case, why? If that's what you want to do, that's fine. But why you want to drag this boy down with you? So where's the accountability in that? So that's my main issue with her. Now, again, Cornelius has some to blame here because he's encouraging the temptation, deception. Again, at some point, he's going to either have to say no. Right now, he's kind of encouraging it. I don't know why, but hey, I can't knock him on that because, again, I don't know who he is. I can't judge him by the resume that's been set in front of me because that's not what I'm seeing there. I'm hearing everything great, but that's not what I'm seeing. So again, which one is it going to be? Now for Walter, all I'm going to say is I'm going to need you to have that sweet chili sauce to go with the tempura shrimp.
It's tight in the dunya for Cornelius, isn't it? Still. Who hasn't spoken on this subject yet? Reformed by a player? Have you spoken on this yet? I don't think you had.
Nah.
Talk to us about Cornelius.
Yeah, I'm gonna just break it down to individuals. Keep it short and sweet. Walter, he was there for a free meal. Not mad at the brother. I would have been grubbing too. Hey, Camille. Child, you played yourself when you decided that you want to put this day together to see, in your words, Cornelius in action with another woman. Why would you want to do that to yourself? You already seem like you got some type of insecurities that make you like so clingy and grabby, hold on to him so quickly. Why would you even do that to yourself? Because now you just shooting yourself in the foot for no daggone reason by seeing him in action. You've seen him in action at the mixer. You weren't happy about it then. Why torture yourself some more? I don't get it. Okay. Then you try to put yourself against her by the religious comments and all that stuff, which only fell into her favor because Cornelius, my brother, you're trying to get back into it, but you're not practicing it. Clearly, you need to have your toes 10 foot down like Liz did last season, but you don't because you're okay with the hands on the shoulder, the head on the shoulder, the arms around the arms, the hands on the legs. You with all touchy-feely. You told her that your love language was gifts or whatever. And she said hers is physical attraction. I mean, touchy-feely and all this stuff like that. She's displaying all hers on you. She putting it on you. She told you told us all in the confessional, I'm gonna need you to like adopt a new love language and get with this touching because it's about to happen. And you're allowing it to happen. So I don't know what to tell you, brother. You know, I don't know. You setting yourself up for failure. I don't see the God within you. I just don't, you could say you have it. It's not there, and I'm not mad. I'm not judging or whatever. That's your prerogative. But hey, that's between you and God on it at this point right now. Yeah, Cornelius, I've got my eye on you now because if a woman just says whatever to you, that you want to hear it, you're gonna fly in the wind with her. So I don't know what to tell you. You all over the place, my brother. And yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Camille, leave it alone, sis. You playing too many games and you playing yourself out of your own game at this point. All right.
Sorry, guys, just to compose myself. Yes. It's a bit mad, isn't it? Listen, I personally think, just, my personal thoughts is, Cornelius, Cornelius is a brother, man. Yeah, he's caught up. He's seen a fine sister and has got caught up. Okay, that's what's happened. Okay, the brother has got caught up. Look, you know what? It's funny because like I can't go hard at him, innit? You know what I'm saying? I can't go at him because I'm no better. Okay, I had my periods of seasons where, fam, I was born again Christian, but fam, I was out here in them sticks. I reformed ex-boy. Do you know what I'm saying? F-boy. So I think the brother just needs to be. Basically what's happened. Okay, let me be frank with you. Okay, what's happened here? The brother mentioned slip ups just in case. This is why he mentioned it. He knows himself. He knows that's a weakness. Okay, so what he's doing is he's giving himself a little bit of rope. Okay, so if this happens, you can't be coming at him like he's some super Christian. He's already told you there could be a slip up. You know what I mean? That's what he's trying to let you know from early. There could be a slip up, right? Now, I don't agree with that, but I also understand that none of them are perfect. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes you fall and you have to get back up again. Now, here's my only thing is that as I'm listening to him talk, all right, it's Courtney is, let me say this. If he's listening carefully, Courtney's not even on the same wave as him. Do you get what I'm saying? I think that's the difference. Courtney's not even on the same wave as him, right? And she's now put it in the airwaves that she wants to have sex. That should be the stopping block. I always say this: we all like a little bit of a lie. Okay? Yeah. When I fall into fornication, I want to lie to myself. I don't want you to tell me the truth. I want to lie. Yes. I want to go to your house lying to myself that I'm not going to have sex with you. Let's keep it 100 a buck. I'm not going to pretend and tell you some fairy story, okay? If you tell me you want to have sex, then I'm turned off. I need to lie to myself, okay? I need to get to that place, go there, and then fall into this thing, right? If you start telling me like Courtney's done, I'm going to be like, nah, can't do it. Because now I'm doing it on purpose. I'm telling you about the process of how Christians fall into sin, because sometimes we pretend as if Christians don't fall into sin. And no one's super here, right? And the reason why we fall into sin is because we lie to ourselves. That's the honest truth. When you flipped up and fell into fornication, did you slip in? Did you slip up? You didn't slip up, bruv. It was a conscious choice. You just decided to lie to yourself at that point. Do you know what I'm saying? Right? You decided to allow yourself to be deceived at that point. I am not about to pretend and be like, yo, man's a super Christian out here. Because listen, the 5 thing is only a problem because Courtney has made her intentions known. If Courtney had not made her intentions known, this is just a touch. It's a bit frisky, it's a bit naughty, but it's a little bit of a flirty touch, right? And he probably has to govern it a little bit better. But it's not for me, it's not a crazy thing. But it's because she's made her intentions known that it becomes now even more. We have to look at it more because she's intending to try to finish him off. Now, here's the thing. She's intending to eat him for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And at that point, it's slightly different. You know what I mean? Brother, you've got someone hunting you now. You know what I mean? This is not you are talking to a girl's talking to you, and you guys are talking, you get together, and and then, like I said, you have a lie where you lie to yourselves and deceive yourselves that you can be around each other and do certain things, and you fall into it. This is somebody who's hunting you. They want your head. Do you understand? So at that point, it's actually slightly different, right? That person really wants to take you out the game. You know what I mean? So I can see that now when she touches you, yes, I have to say it's a little bit different to someone else who's liking you and really feeling you and wants to potentially build something, and then that happens. She's now told you she wants to take you out the game. At that point, sir, you have to exit left, because she's trying to tell you she wants your head. And more than likely, she's going to take the whole of the body with her while she does it. You know what I mean? So, me personally, you know, I think Cornelius, he gonna need to run. Okay, he needs to run, and he needs to run fast. Because if someone tells you they're coming for you, and you give them room to come for you, they're coming for it all. You know what I mean? They're coming for it all. But, you know, I am hearing what everyone's saying. I think it's funny. You know, I think it's funny because it's true. We do these things, and Cornelius, he be doing some stuff where I think he just needs to be honest with himself. That's what I'm asking for. I mean, Cornelius, be honest with yourself. You're enjoying it a little bit. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm gonna just say, you know, if she touched me on the thigh, I'm not gonna tell her not to touch me on the thigh. I'm gonna tell you, listen, baby, I need you to relax a little bit though. Maybe not on that area of the thigh, just the knee. But the thigh might be a little bit too dangerous because you're close to the crotch. Just on the knee. You know what I'm saying? No thigh, but just on the knee. And I appreciate you for that. You know what I'm saying? Keep it a little bit, you know what I mean? I can't say no touching. I'm not going to lie to you and sit here and say to you, I'm one of those Christians that are going to tell you, you can't touch me. If I sat here and said that to you, I'd be lying to you. I'd be lying to your face, and I'm not going to do it. Me and Jesus have real talks. I'm not that kind of Christian. And if you're that type of Christian, I appreciate that. All right? I actually appreciate that. And I think that's an amazing thing to do. It's not going to be me, though. It's not going to be me. Right? I'm not a non-touching kind of Christian. But if you have a different opinion, I also understand that. Maybe someone wants to express that opinion. Did someone else? This is our last part of the conversation. So maybe someone else wants to express a different opinion. Maybe they can't touch you, and I understand that. Maybe a different opinion.
I'm gonna tell you, don't touch me. Don't touch me. I'm not. Don't touch me. Don't touch my hair. Don't touch me. I'm good. I don't even want you to smell good. Like, don't. Again, like you said, you know your weakness. So at the end of the day, you know, like I said, when she touched that, you like, you know, like you said, F boy, you know, when somebody call you, you be like, oh, I know I can't, you know. Okay, we had this conversation before. When you go jumping in the shower, if y'all just talking, why you jump in the shower? Because you already know you about to be repenting on Sunday. So let's stop playing. Don't touch me. Don't touch my elbow. Don't touch me. We can't do nothing. That's why I said, don't even call me after 10. No, we good. So you walking into temptation's door. You know, that's why some religions, they, you know, I'm gonna go with speaking to the masses, where they take other people with them on them dates so you don't be tempted. Maybe, you know, as Christians, we might need to take some people on a date with us because we be over there, like I said, just that. Man, you over here, he started touching your hand. Remember back in the day, y'all used to do this? Okay, see my hand. When you do that, what that mean? You know what that mean when they used to do that back in the day? I don't know if they do that in the UK, but over here, you be all hot and bothered. You be like, oh, yeah, you about to get this. Again, don't touch me. Don't touch my hand. Don't touch nothing. We good. I'm finished.
Well, Kia, you more saved than me. God bless you, sis, because she'd have had her hand all up and down my thigh, and I would have just been looking the other way. Sorry. I'm not healed. I'm not fully delivered. Listen, I gotta be honest. It would have been somebody like her. It would have been problem. Now, had it been like a Respucia, I'd have swatted that hand like a fly. But Courtney can have her hand on my thigh any day. Okay, any day.
But Sean, you know that's temptation. Everybody chart their carpets off because you.
Listen, the flesh is weak, Kia. The flesh is weak. And we in a whole pandemic, and it's cuffing season. She could touch my thigh, okay? I'll say it. It's Sunday too, so just pray me on through it.
Okay, so we have to close out with a prayer for Kojo and Sean tonight because they let the thighs.
Corey hasn't said anything. Corey, what you saying?
Hey, I'm right there with Sean. Okay, this is the thing. Cornelius never said that he was this gung-ho Christian type of guy. As a matter of fact, I was disappointed in the way he answered that question when they asked him about his religion. He wasn't very confident when he spoke about it. So to me, if he wasn't confident speaking about it, if you're a man, you have to be confident through and through, not just when dating, not just when approaching a woman, but everything you say and speak, you need to speak it with confidence. So when he was asked that question, he didn't answer it with confidence. So that tells me he's not really about that life. So yeah, you can be as strong as you want to be, have these thoughts in your mind about you're not going to let this happen, you're not going to let that happen. But when that moment comes, there's always a wrench being thrown into the plan. Okay, so with this situation, because he's so heavily attracted to her, of course he's going to let her touch his thigh. Hopefully it'll get more than that. That's with the hopes of it being more than that. Now, I understand where you guys are coming from as well. Any man who with self-control should be able to tell a woman, no, I think that's going too far. Unfortunately, those men do not really exist. Most men would egg that on. You know, Kojo, I respect you, bro. I respect you. But most men who egg that on because of the level of attraction that they have towards her. As Sean said, if he was not attracted to her, maybe it'd be a different outcome. But if you are attracted to that person, sex can be a beautiful thing. I'm just gonna say sex can be a beautiful thing. Those who are abstinent into marriage, I respect it. Those who dibble and dabble, whatever they do, gotta respect that too. But where no one is perfect. I don't care if you are go to church every Sunday, every Wednesday, Bible study, vacation Bible school. No one is 100% perfect, and we can't lose sight of that. Everyone needs a little help. Everyone needs to grow a little bit, and that's the whole purpose for a partner. If you were perfect, you would need a partner. So sometimes we have to look at ourselves and say, okay, you know what? Am I requiring too much from this person? Everyone has a relationship with God, but everyone has a different type of relationship. Those who want a relationship with God, I'll say that. Those who want a relationship with God and have a relationship with God, everyone's relationship is different. How I talk to God may be different than how someone else talks to him. Does not make my relationship invalid. So I just want to say that part. And just because I would allow her to do that does not make me a bad person. Just one part.
I have a question, Kojo. Did he say he didn't want to have sex during the process or before marriage? Because I think that's what's getting mixed up.
I think he did say before marriage. Right? On the first episode, where casting, he was talking about not trying to have sex before marriage. He did say that. Do you know what I'm saying? He just left himself a bit open. He just left himself a bit open on this episode.
With the trying, with using the word trying, modifying it.
Yeah, when you say try, this is what I'm saying about. This is what I'm saying about. That's why I had to make the nuance about situations, because like if she was fully on Christ, let's say Courtney's like fully on Christ. From what I'm deep in what she said, I don't know if she's fully on Christ, right? It sounds like she grew up in a church. If she was fully like on Christ and trying to lead a Christian, Christ-like life, whatever, and then she meets Cornelius and they start talking and dating, something potentially could go down. It could potentially, unfortunately, slip, right? But when you say it out loud, it becomes problematic. Do you understand? Because now it makes like you're making excuses for this thing before it happens. And that's why it sounds so bad, because he said trying at that point. All he needed to say was, no, I'm not going to have sex before marriage. But the moment he says trying, he's already put himself at a deficit to say, well, I'm potentially going to go into, I'm going to do this. Do you know what I mean? Because if you say trying, you're already saying that I'm potentially going to be falling already, when your starting point should be, I'm not going to fall. You know what I mean? If you start with trying, it sounds like you're already giving yourself that excuse. That's what I mean by the language becomes problematic in terms of what he's saying. Yeah.
I think the problem is kind of make a mockery out of. Here's my issue, right? There's, you can be a Christian, and now in today's age, even less so than before, there's very few Christians. I'm not going to say very few, but it's not as many as there used to be. Who are trying to wait for marriage or be celibate before marriage, and they still openly say they're Christian. That's fine. But I think the problem is that if you come out and you say, I'm a Christian and I'm going to try to wait, you're kind of announcing and putting yourself out there that you want to wait before marriage. You want to wait until marriage, if that's what he says. Try, even if you modify it. And then the very next scene, you're letting a girl feel on your thigh. I think you're kind of making a joke of it. I'm not saying that you'd have to wait before marriage to be a Christian. We don't have a hell or heaven to put anyone in. I think the issue is that when you make a joke, it just makes a mockery of the whole situation to me. I'm not saying that's what he was trying to do. He probably had the best intentions, and then here comes, Courtney being, the temptation snake kind of on his neck, putting her hands on his thigh. But I personally wouldn't be announcing such things because I don't want it to look like I'm making a joke of something that I care so much about. I don't even want to put that pressure on my back because, to be honest, most of us would fall. That's what happens. That's the problem. We're human. A lot of us fall. So it's best not even to put yourself out there that you're going to be waiting for this and this and that, because then you have a target on your back. Same thing happened with Liz. She's saying that she was going to wait for Jason. And now every time people looking up, they're estimating, guesstimating, wondering if she messed with Jason before they broke up. I just feel like it's best kind of to keep that personal walk to yourself unless you know you're going to stand on it. Because don't say something like that and then you turn around and you over here kikiing while she got her hands literally on your private area on date 2. So I
get what you're saying. But I feel like as Christians we do this a lot. Sex becomes the ultimate sin. Listen, you could be like, I'm gonna be a Christian, and you lie tomorrow, or you be untruthful in a business transaction. And yet, listen, I'm not trying to defend actions. I'm just saying that as Christians, I've seen this. I do it myself. We put so much emphasis on sex, and I'm like, God ain't putting that emphasis on sex that as much as you're talking about all the other sins, because sin is sin. Now, the consequences have a different consequence. Let's be honest and real about that. There are different consequences for certain sins that we do, right? But the way sometimes, if he mentions he's a Christian, he's trying to abstain from having sex, yeah? All right? Yes, he may be silly and someone may touch his leg. Okay, someone touched his leg. You may say you're a Christian, and in the very next scene, you're out here telling a half-truth. You lied. But no one's jumping down our throats at that point. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like sometimes we put such a heavy emphasis to question the person. I'm not defending the fact that you should be out here fornicating. Please hear me very clear. I don't want to misinform what I'm saying. I believe we should be waiting until you're married. Okay. I believe that for your own reasons. If you don't want to believe in Jesus, fine. But I believe it helps in terms of you developing your relationships. But also, if you are a Christian, we do it because we follow Christ. All right. And we want to honor him with our bodies. Okay. This is 1 Corinthians 6 when I read it. Now, all I'm saying is, I feel like in terms of the Courtney situation, like I said, there's a context. So I'm hearing what you're saying, Seaway. There's a context because this girl's hunting after him. So I'll concede that point. I'll concede it. I won't say anymore. I'll concede it because there's a girl that's hunting him. It's different from somebody who's trying to be in a relationship with you. She's actually hunting him, trying to break those walls. So it's slightly different. So let me concede that point.
And I think he put that emphasis on this particular sin, not me, not nobody else. I think the problem is he emphasized this. If he would announce, I'm a Christian and I promise I'm not going to lie tomorrow, and he start lying, then it's going to be an issue. I mean, I do agree. I think we put a lot of pressure and burden on ourselves not to fall on that particular sin, and then a lot of us beat ourselves up when we fall because it's one of the harder, I would say, sins for humans not to fall into. Yeah, and I think it is true that we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. But I think, again, because of that, when you put yourself out there on something that is one of the harder things, it's not hard not to lie for a lot of us. A lot of us can be honest. A lot of us don't kill our neighbor, and a lot of us don't do those things. But for some reason, this is a hard thing for us not to do. So I'm just saying, you just best practice.
That's
you
true.
Just don't want to put yourself out there on something that you may not be ready to stand on. That's all.
I'm hearing you. All right, we'll continue this conversation on the After Dark. I'm sure we will. Listen, let's let the audience go. There's some subjects that are for After Dark. Stop for now. You get me? Okay. But I'm hearing what you're saying. Sean, you got to do me a favor though, bro. You know what you do best? I need you to give us the benediction. And we'll have a conversation after, man.
Sounds good. And we're going to do a special prayer for healing and deliverance for all of us that can, get caught up in the situation, right? Because, listen, he who is without sin cast the first stone, right? We're not glorifying it, but, transparency is a good thing because, there's healing in the transparency, right? We can all learn from one another's mistakes and sharing and learn to do better. So I think that's the message, right? We don't want to condemn one another for our sins, but push each other towards healing and getting redeemed and healed. All right. So the main thing is now we're seeing some great things with these couples. Things are starting to heat up. We're seeing connections form. We're seeing connections fall off. Shout out to all the ladies on the cast who are being upfront and honest with us brothers and setting those clear boundaries, which is great. And that sets a great stage for love and relationships and intimacy outside of the physical realm. I think the brother who got eliminated, rightfully so, and hopefully Corey's somewhere in there next to get eliminated because he seems to be on a path to nowhere of substance. That is, we got a great cast, panel, great chopping it up tonight. Everybody in the comments, another good night of fun. And I think, listen, let's keep watching. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. We got some good content coming. Shout out to all the panelists bringing their perspectives. We are just humans. We are just folks sharing our experiences and trying to bring a different light to this here good show. So I'll turn it back to you, Coach.
Is saved and sexy. Gotta be careful of that name, brother. So listen, it's been good, it's good. I like the fact that we have different opinions. It helps, like I said, to have a different, well-rounded conversation. Do you know what I mean? And so audience members has been brilliant. Please, on your way out, like the video, and make sure you lot tune in next week as well for another one of these lives. We'll be back also on a Thursday. I'm sure we'll have another one of those entertaining conversations where it gets mad. Hopefully we'll be able to call out certain people, but sometimes it doesn't always happen, but we're good. But yeah, I look forward to seeing you guys next week, man. And maybe one day we'll open up the After Dark conversation. Maybe one day we'll open up, but I don't think it's right now. We're going to discuss this with the panelists. But it's been good. We appreciate you guys. Stay locked, stay loaded, and we'll see you very, very soon.